I love the fans like they part of my team. Yeah. Don't forget to smash that like button. Comment, subscribe, all that. The Fanatic. Yeah.
What's up, college football fans? It is the Saturday Night Snap Count on the Fanatic Sports Network. Man, listen, it's college football week 1. Started off on Thursday with Utah, Florida, Nebraska, Minnesota. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. Listen, Coach Prime said he was coming, and he came today, man, him and the Colorado Buffaloes. Can we all just say ESPN Game Day is just a shell of itself? I mean, I prefer SEC Nation and Big Noon, better now than ESPN Game Day. Hey, we'll get some takes on from our panel. Listen, Washington Huskies got wide receivers for days. If you need some, go to the Washington Huskies. They got them. Michigan, Georgia, USC, Ohio State, Bama all handle business. Oklahoma and Oregon putting up gaudy numbers. Tennessee handles Virginia with ease. College football is back, people. College football is absolutely back, and we're gonna get into it, man. Y'all know how we do on the Snap Count. We got an all-star cast for y'all, man, and we're gonna talk some college football. So let me go ahead and bring them in, man. This is my guy, man. Y'all already know how it is, man. He come on the show. I'm on his show, man. This is my guy, Jason from Hall of Fame, man. What's going on, Jason?
What's up, man? Good day. Awesome day for Oklahoma fans. And in a lot of ways, and what a great day for those Colorado Buffaloes, huh, Coach?
Hey, man, they played good, dog. Like, they came to play. It was a good game. I thought both offenses had moments. I think both need to shore up some defense, but we'll get into it. But it was definitely the most exciting game to this time, man. Let's go ahead and bring on the rest of our cast, man. Hey, man, this is a good buddy of mine, man. Met him through YouTube, man. He covers all FCS. He's even an FCS poll voter. We're talking about he covers all FCS, and he knows a lot about FBS as well, man. We're talking about from Zach from the Blue Bloods, man. What's going on, Zach?
What's up, guys, man? Appreciate y'all having me on, man. I'm excited. Week 1's finally here. Week 0 was like a small teaser, man, but now we're finally rolling.
That's right, man. Zach is up there in Irish country, man. He got to be on the field, press pass, and all that at the Notre Dame Tennessee State game, man. Listen, living the life.
Cool.
Living the life.
Very cool.
Hey, man, speaking of Notre Dame, man, we got Coach in here. What's going on, Coach? Fresh off an Ireland trip.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, Coach.
Hey, your Notre Dame Fighting Irish looking good. Hey, looking the same this week as they did last week.
Yeah, we're doing some good things, but we gotta get into that Ohio State game before we're gonna know what we're really truly made of.
Big facts. As long as they keep moving forward, you want to progress every week. That's the biggest thing. And then, hey, another guest, man. Listen, man, shout out to this guy, man. He knows a lot about college football, man. He's a Bama fan, but he keeps it all the way real for everything. This is like YouTube royalty for us, man. We talking about Ty from Around the Table Sports. What's going on, Ty?
Man, just glad to be here. College football is back. I think as happy as I am to be here, I think my wife is more happy that I'm out the living room. She gets the TV. She can watch what she wants, and I'm not talking her ear off about college football. So it's a win-win.
That's right, man. That's right. All right, Ty, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you at, man. Then we'll go around the table and then get into some college football.
Yeah, y'all can find me at Around the Table Sports here on YouTube, just constantly talking college football content. If you root for a team that's Power 5, we're probably talking about it. Would love to have you over there.
There it is, man. Jason, tell the people where they can find you at, man.
Hall of Fame College Football. It's at CFB-pod on YouTube. You can also find us at JW_HOF. Hey, man, we're talking college football every day of the week as well. Love being on the show right here with you guys. Ty, I mean, yeah, this is what an all-star cast here, man. And in fact, I watch Zach's show quite a bit, so I'm excited. I'm excited to be on here with these guys, man. I appreciate you having us on again, Coach.
No problem, man. Jason, Zach, tell them where they can find you at, man.
Yeah, the Blue Bloods, the Blue Bloods on all podcast platforms, YouTube, _Blue Bloods on all social media, man. If you're looking for my writing, I start Tuesday, man, covering the SEC for Athlon Sport. So if you're looking for SEC coverage, man, you can find it there. Like I said earlier, man, appreciate you having me on here.
Hey, appreciate you coming, man. All right, Coach, tell them where they can find you at, man.
Guys, I'm pretty plain and simple. You can find me on the Hall of Fame, and that's really about it. I don't do much of the other stuff.
Keep it sweet and simple, man. Let's get into it, man. Listen, Prime, let's start with the big story, man. Prime was all about his business today, man. What'd you think of the game there, Ty?
Man, I'll be honest with y'all. One of the things that I talked about today that I think we all need to acknowledge is what a great job the coaching staff for Colorado did. And I know everybody's going to point to the fact that this is a TCU team that had to replace their quarterback, that had to replace some wide receivers. How about the fact that this is a Colorado team that was 1-11 last year and is completely patchwork from the transfer portal? Everybody's talking about what TCU didn't have from last year. That same logic goes both ways to Colorado.
Yep.
You want to know what TCU had that Colorado didn't last year? Continuity at the coaching position. Yes,
Big
TCU
sense.
has to replace an offensive coordinator, but they still have the head coach. Colorado is new from the ground up, and the coaching was very impressive. If I talk offensively, guys, Sean Lewis was in his bag from the
Yeah, he
get-go. Did
was.
y'all see that first third down they hit where he sent Jimmy Horn on the orbit motion and then gave Shedeur two options, both of which wide open? I mean, it was awesome. And Shedeur Sanders was automatic. I can talk to you for hours about the athletic ability he had, but that's not doing it justice. You want to know what the most impressive thing he did today? Understand a supreme understanding of, one, what Sean Lewis wanted from him, but
Yep.
two, the game of football. Why am I going to force the deep pass to my otherworldly wide receivers when I have Jimmy Horn Jr., Weaver, or Travis Hunter on the underneath route, and I can just continue getting first downs all day long? And then Travis Hunter, guys, I don't even know where to begin. He had the play where he hawked down the running back that ran it for 70 yards. He ends up catching him. And then 3 plays later, jumps off of his wide receiver to jump the route and intercept the ball. Yeah. Look, you have to be very impressed with how Colorado started. Even if you're down on TCU, you have to be impressed with how Colorado started. The defense is going to be a work in progress, but I think we all expected depth up front to kind of be the biggest question for the Buffs.
Yeah, man, and you brought up a good point. I know some people will come out here and say, well, TCU is not as good as they were. That may be true, but TCU is still good. Colorado just looked way more prepared in the first half. Like TCU looked like the team that had, 70-something, roster turnover. It did not look like Colorado. Colorado looked like they were ready for the game blue. Shedeur was like otherworldly today. You saw him more than probably all of us on this call last year, man. Like, was it better than what he was doing, at Jackson State, or was it just on par for what he always has been doing?
I think it was still a step up. And I think that's what you wanted to see. I mean, this is a guy who's going in now to his 3rd year in a similar offense he's been running his whole collegiate career with the same type. Like, he has experience throwing to a lot of these weapons. You want to see a guy take that jump from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, and I think he took it. But when you're talking about the maturity, the confidence, the accuracy, that's been there since true freshman year. I mean, this is a guy who won the Jerry Rice Award at the FCS level, and you look at the past winners of that, Trey Lance, Cameron Ward balling out up at Washington State. Like, these guys can play. I think my biggest takeaway, one, with me being an FCS guy, it showed that a lot of these FCS guys they brought in, the best of the best at the FCS can play at any level you want to make them. And so I was really happy to see Travis, Shedeur, some of these guys go out there and ball out. And I like the comment earlier, man. Travis last year battled some injuries, and he really didn't get to show out till about that Campbell game, which was late October, their homecoming. And when you look at just the jump he's taken from year 1 to now, I mean, we're going to have to realistically have a real conversation of he's in the conversation for the best player in college football. I mean, I had people calling me who were older and like my dad and family. They're like, who is this kid? Where did he come from? Like, he looks better than just about any. I mean, the pick he made in terms of reading and reacting.
It's like he baited the quarterback, bro. It's like, that was crazy.
That's not a play a sophomore makes.
No.
And there's a reason why this guy was the number 1 recruit in the country of any position a year ago, and why FSU was so upset that they didn't get him. And let me just say one other thing. As I said in the comments here, you don't get to call TCU trash now when they were 21-point favorites. You don't get to call them trash just because they got beat. You don't get to do it.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear that crap because Shedeur came in. He showed he is him. Travis Hunter showed he is him. As my friend Ty would say, he was Himothy. The guy was that good, right?
Yeah.
It just come on, man. You go.
And
You
Dylan
don't-
Edwards.
That's what I was about to say. Don't let
Dylan
it get
Edwards,
lost on
another
that on their
Himothy.
performance. 4 touchdowns from Dylan Edwards, the true freshman.
Right. Look, I'm telling you one thing. These guys were good. They were good all. And look, could they be better on defense? Absolutely. And I think if anybody has a question about Colorado, first and foremost, I don't think anybody here is saying they're going to win the national championship this year. I don't think anybody's even saying that they're going to win the Pac-12. I don't know that they are. And in fact, I don't think that they are. You know, we've all had our picks. What I'm going to tell you is that they put the Pac-12 on notice today that you don't get to just walk over these guys. They're not.
Yeah.
You better have a hell of a defense or you're going to be in for a dogfight because these guys are not backing down from anybody.
That's right, man. I think some of the depth at defensive line for Colorado starts showing in the second half when TCU was able to move the ball. But the key is, like we say all the time, man, good defenses get stops when they need to, and they got the 4th down stop, you know, on TCU to have a turnover on downs, man. Listen, overall, man, I know, listen, stat guys text me. Matter of fact, shout out to stat guy, man. Stat guy is at I don't know if he's going to jump on tonight. He's at the South Carolina, North Carolina game currently, and they're down 31-14. So I don't know if he's jumping on tonight. But he was like, you know, Shedeur, you know, trying to get to New York for the Heisman. The only bad thing about today is Colorado had so many guys do so much good stuff. It might hurt in the voting because you got to split your vote between, you know, Shedeur. You got to split your vote with Travis. And if Dylan Edwards keeps playing the way he's playing, I mean, 4 touchdowns, bro, like somebody had to take it to the house. Coach, what'd you think about Colorado and Coach Prime's initial FBS debut?
No surprise whatsoever. We've been talking about this for a while, guys, and we've been, Jason and I have been talking about this with you know, on the Hall of Fame Sports, and guys, it was coming, and it's still coming, and you know, now Shedeur, guys, I don't know if y'all realize this or not, but you know, he had a little problem earlier, and I think he had something to prove with Coach Briles from TCU, because he had been back at FAU. He had been in Shedeur's eyes and Coach Prime's eyes been a little bit mistreated, and so I think Shedeur had something to prove. But I think that was just a little bit of extra incentive there. But guys, he's a big time player. You know, the apple didn't fall far from the tree, guys. You know,
he was cool, calm, and collected today, man.
Absolutely. And guys, just like Jason said, they're not going to go out and win the national championship by any means. But you know what, guys? They've already tied their win-loss record from last year. And they're going to improve on that. And I can think that they can win 5 ball games at least.
Well, me and Jason talked about those games. I think those are more winnable now than when we talked about them before the season. You know,
absolutely. And you know, guys, and people were, and you guys know this, people were upset with Coach Prime because he didn't do this. He didn't do it the traditional way. He went out and did it Prime's way, and he's loud doing it. But you know what? That's the way Prime does it. And I'm a huge Prime fan with what he's been doing and what he continues to do. Even the college coaches at this level were talking smack about him. And I'm telling you, it's time to quit talking smack, and you better worry about it if you got a plan.
That's right. That's right. Ty, man, I know listen, kudos to Colorado. We all know what they did, but let's not lose the fact that Kendall Briles is the new offensive coordinator at TCU, and he did not look bad. I'm not saying he was Garrett Riley today. They had some miscues that the players caused, but I thought his play calling was pretty good too. And they got 2 good running backs, man. What do you think about TCU and how their season might play out going forward?
So I still have quite a few questions about TCU. And in fairness, I think even if they would have came out and been a TCU team that looked more sure of themselves, had won the game, I would still have some questions. What I will say, really happy to see Trey Sanders get out there and get active. I talked about this earlier on my show. If you love college football, you have to love the story of Trey Sanders, talking about a guy that has done nothing but be a supreme teammate and fight through adversity and show what it means to be a champion. Truly, he embodies it more than anybody. And that's why I wish all the success upon him. One thing we have to remember, TCU might have to replace a quarterback. They're still led by a veteran guy.
Big
right.
facts.
So this is an offense that still has some guys on the outside that they like. They like some running backs. Number 19 for them looks to be like he could be a mismatch.
Yes, the tight end. Yeah.
We need to see with this. I'm less worried about the TCU offense. I'm worried about the TCU defense. Right.
But Ty, that defense was 130th last year. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't look like they improved at all.
Exactly.
So, Blue, what do you take from TCU, man? Like I say, I like Kendall Browse. I think they got some playmakers everywhere, except for even on defense, they have playmakers. It's just as a unit, they just don't play very well.
No, I mean, and you look, they weren't a great unit last year, and they lost most of their top players. So I would expect them to not be as good week one. I just think it was unfortunate that they ran into the buzzsaw that was Colorado's offense. Like, they didn't get a chance to have a money game or anything to work out the kinks. It was like, you got to go defend Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, one of the best freshman running backs in the country, and they just got exposed in that way. The thing I took away, though, offensively, I thought Morris played pretty well, but you have to clean up the turnovers, and I want to see him be a bit more accurate. I was expecting him to be much more accurate with his throws, because I saw that early before he got hurt last year. I just want to see what the next step is for him, because if they're going to really compete this year for a conference championship, I think Morris really has to take the next step. It looks like he's about on par where he was last year, but I need to see him be a much better quarterback, because when you look at Duggan, he was able to take his game to the next level, and you saw what TCU was able to accomplish. If Morris doesn't get better, I think TCU could be a bowl team, maybe a borderline top 25 team, but I don't think they can compete for the Big 12.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right on that. I don't think they're competing for the Big 12. I think they could be one of those teams that maybe beat somebody they shouldn't and knock that team particularly out of the Big 12 running. But they got enough offense to go around. I don't know if they're going to stop anybody, but sometimes all you need is a little offense, as we've seen with some of the other teams. Hey, man, we got another guest coming in, man. It's my guy, my co-host from Respect the Hedges, former wide receiver at UGA, Shawty Parker, man. What's going on, Shawty?
Big Shawty.
What's happening, Coach? I just got a new setup, so I don't know how it's working. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. We got you, man. We can hear you, dog. We can hear you, man. We just going around, I know we got a lot of games to get to, man, but hey, just quick, man, what you thought about Prime versus the Horned Frogs, man?
Well, this is what I'm gonna say. I have to give credit to Jason, man. Like, real talk, I've been on a former show, and he talked about how Shedeur was for real. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah, I have to agree with him. Like, I'm gonna prove it to you. I'm gonna show, you gotta show me before you can prove it to me, type of guy. He did it today, man. I was very impressed, what they did offensively. I wasn't very impressed defensively with what they did, but just in terms of just showing up, showing out, they did what they were supposed to do. And at this particular point, they in front of Vegas.
Yeah. I think, so much so that I wouldn't be surprised if next week versus Nebraska, TCU is the favorite, just because Nebraska, they played good. They played better. They were well coached against Minnesota, but they took the L. And I don't know how you come away from the TCU Colorado and not favor, TCU in that game, man. But hey, we can go on and on about Prime, and I'm pretty sure for the next week, a lot of us will on different shows. But we got a lot of football to talk about, man. Hey, man, let's rewind a little bit, man. Y'all already know I want to talk about Utah, Florida. Listen, Jason said it the other night, man. Listen, man, I try to tell people when I'm doing previews, man, it is not based on feelings. It's not based on fandom. It is just what I think is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But while the game is going on, for Coach I and them Georgia Bulldogs, man, ain't nothing greater than to watch Florida just crumble all to pieces. You know what I'm saying? And if you didn't see the game, 24-11 does not tell the story. Utah absolutely manhandled Florida. They were like, I've been saying it. Kyle Whittingham is a great coach. I'm not saying Billy Napier isn't, but he was definitely not a good coach on Thursday. They didn't look prepared. It was bad play calling.
Bad
The
play
defense,
calling, right?
listen, man, the defense was out of
Napier
sorts,
kind
out
of
of
living that
position.
life.
Yeah, man. So it's like, all right, Ty, tell me what you're thinking about that Utah, Florida, man.
Well, look, we've become so accustomed to watching a Kyle Whittingham coach team win through the basics. I mean, fundamentals are sound, super disciplined, hard-nosed football. They're very sure of who they are. And no doubt that's part of the story, but I say part of for a very specific reason, because if chapter 1 is talking about what Utah did, chapter 2 has got to be titled The Consequences of My Own Actions. You cannot walk into Utah, play Kyle Whittingham, and think you are going to be an undisciplined football team and come out on top. Not against a disciplined football team
That's
like
right.
that. I said this on my show. Jay clipped it and put it on Twitter. It looked like one of the requirements in the offseason to play offensive line for the Florida Gators is move like your feet are stuck in wet cement. It was tough to watch.
It
that
was,
offensive
dog.
line.
It was.
It was tough because I had just got done saying 2 days before, this is a Utah team that's without Cam Rising. I'm probably about to butcher this last name. I apologize in advance. They're without Keith, their tight end, who might be another first-round tight end or a quasi-first-round guy. I mean, that guy's a mismatch. They're without both of those guys. Bishop went down during the game. Their starting linebacker was hurt. They were without 8 players and dominated.
Yes. And one of those players was a center, and their starting center was a freshman center. Like,
and you want to know what's worse? Mertz wasn't the issue.
nope.
Right? Like, I think if we would have been sitting here and I would have said to you before the game, what's going to happen? I think all of us would have been like, maybe the Florida rushing attack gets something off and Mertz will be the questionable force. No, Mertz went out there and did his thing, but that was all they had. I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say about Florida because it was wild to behold.
Listen, for real. Hey, Jason, what you got about Florida, man? Utah and Florida, man.
I didn't feel like that they committed to the run myself.
They didn't.
when
gave up
got,
early.
Yeah, when you've got you should have the better offensive line, as far as that's concerned. And I'm not saying you necessarily do, but more than likely, I know that Utah feels like this is their best defensive line and offensive line in years. I know Whittingham has said that out loud, but in the end, if you're an SEC program like Florida, you're supposed to be better in the trenches there. I didn't even feel like that they tried to establish the run myself. And I know you were talking about it during the show, and we were talking about, it was one of those things where you just didn't feel like they did. ETN, how many carries does he get? I mean,
bruh, ETN and Montrell Johnson, 10 carries. 10.
See, that is okay. Well, that's clear then. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why we didn't feel like they committed to the run, because they didn't. Norman, you got to get down, buddy. So it's just one of those. Look, I don't know what's going on with Billy. I think that maybe the lights were too big for him. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what to say. I can tell you that I'm not a big believer in Mertz, but I don't think that he can do it by himself for sure. And if you're not getting your running backs involved in the game plan, when that's probably your best opportunity to do something, it seems weird to me. And that being said, Coach Whittingham, to me, for my money, is one of the top 2 or 3 coaches in the country anyway. So, I really do feel like if you don't show up with your lunch pail and get everything right, he's going to kick your ass, Yeah.
I mean, like you said, Mertz definitely wasn't going to win the game, but he definitely wasn't the cause of the loss, Blue. They just you had the 4-down situation down in the red zone where on 3rd down they run the speed sweep, and then on 4th down they do the fake speed sweep shuttle pass. It's like you go into that situation knowing you're going to have 2 downs. Me and Shawty talked about this as a play caller, Billy Napier. You run up the middle on 3rd to get a little bit more extra yards, and then you try to hit on the edge on 4th, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think so. The play calling was terrible all night, I think. I mean, it just there was the lack creativity. You didn't put your best playmakers in positions. I mean, coming into the game, we would all say what Etienne's probably their best offensive weapon.
All
And
around. Yes.
you gave on the ball 7 times all night, 7 times, and as a team, you rushed for 0.6 yards per carry against Utah on the road. I mean, that's just not going to work. And when you look in the SEC, if you're running for 13 yards on 21 attempts, you're not going to win very many games. And then on top of that, the undisciplined coaching too. What was it? The penalty where they had the 2 numbers,
2 number 3s on punt return.
Yeah. How does that happen?
I don't know, because it was a sophomore. They said the punt returner, Johnson Marshall, the cornerback, he was supposed to wear 33. Put on the extra jersey, run out there, and then they just like, I was like, how does this happen? That right there just cemented the fact that Napier seemed out of his depths. Maybe is Florida too big of a job for Napier? You know, people like to call him Sunbelt Billy, but is that too much of a job for him?
Well, I was just fixing to say, man, the only thing I was going to say is Coach Napier better get his resume ready, because it's that time. And I hate to say those things, because, you know, as coaches, we always get battered and beat up on things, but it's that time. And unfortunately too, I have one of my best friends that just went there, Billy Gonzalez, Gonzo, to coach the receivers at Florida. And he's going to be looking for a job too. So I hate that for him, but Napier, it's time to go.
Yeah. So Carson Carpenter, what's up, man? He says Utah to be a playoff. Is Utah bound to be a playoff game, and is when Cam Rising comes back? I think it might be a little too early to call it, but I mean, I believe in Utah. I believe in Utah last year. It's just they've always lost that one game that kind of keeps them out of the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see, because I mean, I think Cam Rising definitely is an overall better quarterback, but your boy was slinging that thing on Thursday, so they definitely got a stable of quarterback. So, Shawty, what you think? Carson want to know, is Utah, playoff bound once Cam comes back?
Just based off the conference in itself, I don't know. I really like what I saw from Utah. I was actually very impressed, especially from the quarterback position. So they were back up, and I'm gonna be honest with you. 13, I can't think of his name, but I think he bring a little bit more of a explosive element to the game than Cam Rising.
Nate Johnson, yeah, he's
right.
What is he, like a sophomore? He's a redshirt freshman, sophomore, or something like that.
So with that being said, from the quarterback position, I think they are in a great place. But I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go back to something Coach kind of hinted on just previously and earlier. This is where I'm at. This is year 2 with Napier, and I saw no improvement.
And that's normally where you see
I don't
the
care if
jump.
you lose the game. Yeah, I don't care if you lose the game. It showed me that you're doing things better, schematically, discipline-wise, just competing at a higher level. And they didn't look better coached. And I know they got better athletes based off the recruiting class. So I'm gonna go to something that I say all the time. He ain't the guy. I don't care how many players you get. He's not the guy.
Yeah. So, Blue, you follow recruiting. I just got one question about this, and then we'll move on to another game. They're number 3 right now on 3 recruiting. Do you think if this continues, they hold on to that class?
No, it got so bad this game on Utah. Auburn's On 3 page released an article titled "Florida Commits that Auburn's still recruiting." That's how bad it is. As other sites are saying, listen, these are the guys we recruited. We're going to get them if Florida keeps playing like that. And I think that put all, and I think me, you, and I think Kobe talked about this on one of the shows we were on. They got all the pressure in the world now, because when you landing 5 stars, they landed what? Like 8 4-stars in like 3 days at one point this summer. They were the hottest team in the country on the recruiting trail. If you're 4-8, 3-9, and you lose to Vandy again, or lose some game you shouldn't supposed to, I don't think Jamonte Waller, or one of those 5 stars, wants to go to Florida and take a chance on that. They're gonna look. Georgia's gonna be in their ear. LSU is going to be in their ear. Oklahoma, I mean, whoever it may be, they're going to get poached left and right because what's going to happen? We all know this negative recruiting. Those coaches are calling that kid and saying, you know, that coach you're building a relationship with, guess what? He's not going to be there in 6 months because they're going to get fired. And so, because even if Napier doesn't lose his job, you don't think he's going to have to make some assistant changes?
Yeah.
And the thing is, Blue, they just fired a defensive coordinator last year, got a new one this year. Napier calls the plays. He ain't got no more coordinators to fire.
And
That's
Zach,
brutal.
the film don't lie. These kids see the film like we see the film.
Yeah.
Big facts, man. This is
You-
crazy, man.
Because I played offensive line. If I was an offensive lineman as a senior in high school, watching Florida's offensive line get progressively worse over the past 6 years, I don't care what NIL package you're offering me. I'm not going to play at Florida because guess what? I know I can't go to the league because I'm not getting developed.
Yeah, that's big fact. That's
You
right.
know
That's
it's
it. That's
bad.
it right there. That's it right there. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah.
You know it's bad when you saw. Did y'all see ETN's tweet saying basically saying why is his little brother there?
Oh,
You
Listen.
got an NFL running back basically being like, "Yo, it might be time for my brother to
hey,
look elsewhere." That's not good.
ETN, we got space for you in Athens, though.
No, he tweeted that his brother should go to Colorado. If I'm not mistaken.
That's what
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was, Zach.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you. I
Yeah.
knew it was
Yeah, he-
something along that. Thank you.
Yeah. He said his brother should go play for Prime.
Yep, that's what it
Oh,
was.
No, he ain't got it. He ain't got a flat F4. We got him, just 150 miles on the road. He ain't gotta go
Yeah.
way
that's
to
right.
the-
That's right, dog. We got a number 7 jersey for you.
Hey, Bishop Frank was talking about DJ Lagway in here. I think that if he ends up flipping anytime real soon, watch out because the whole bottom falls out of this recruiting class. Then.
So Blue,
Right.
do you know who the finalists for DJ
Yeah.
Lagway were before he committed to Florida?
Hang on, let me see. I could try to find his finalists because he had. Let's see.
Because I mean, these are real
trying to find
possibilities now. You know what I'm saying? If you looking this bad, like nobody. This is why I told somebody, man. NIL. I know it. All the fans, anytime they lose a recruit, they want to yell NIL, NIL. That's true. That's true. NIL does play a big part, but at the end of the day, man, competitors want to play with winners. Like winners want to play with winners. Nobody wants to go to college making $750,000 and win 2 games a year. Nobody wants that. People want to. They want the
I
money.
take it, though.
Well, but what if you can get 600 and a natty? You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm just saying, man, it's getting crazy, and Florida fans are some of that nation is some of the most demanding nation in all of college football. So they got to figure it out, or Napier's going to be gone.
Well, we went and checked out High Top Show the night because he was running the live stream, man. It was wild in that comment section, man.
Oh,
It was
Wild.
sad.
I saw the video he made, old string music video saying he's still with Florida. Of course, he should be still with them. I'm just saying they may have to make some changes, man. So, listen, let's another team in Florida, Miami versus Miami, Ohio. What's your thoughts on Miami, Jason? The real Miami, I guess.
On the Hurricanes, man. I don't know, man. I don't trust that they're really doing much yet. I think that there's a lot of hype around them because of Mario Cristobal and the way that he recruits and the money that they're throwing at people, but I don't know that they've been doing it right. The thing is, at this point, it almost feels like how we've said this a ton around Oklahoma is that, yeah, you were able to, even after that 6 and 7 season, you got a number 4 class, but that was because, and you were going after defense. A lot of that, I think, had to do with the fact that a lot of these guys expected they could come in and play right away. You know, they're going to get an opportunity to get on the field.
Yeah.
I think in order to get a lot of these 5-star, especially the defensive tackle guys, which, you know, it's just like you either getting quarterbacks or you getting DTs. You got to get one of the two. You know, that's what matters in the college game. I think that at this point, it's going to have to be about more than money. Just like you said, you have to show that you can do something and make that change. I think Ty was saying it on my show a few minutes ago. When it came to Cristobal last season, his hires were not great. Mike Gaddis, I mean, they had to get his ass right out of there, right?
Well, I thought he was overrated in the first
Josh Gaddis,
place.
Right.
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
why did you bring him in there to start with? You know, what was the point there?
Yeah.
I didn't get it. And, you know, I think there's a lot to prove. I don't know that I mean, hell, they're in the ACC. If they're going to have an opportunity to like take a step forward, it's not like they're in the SEC right now. They should be able to take a step forward. Will they? We'll find out. But to me, I think that they're probably a year or two away. Like I feel like Florida probably is, even in this age of NIL and the transfer portal. He's not getting the guys, even dumping that money in David Stone's lap. I think it was closer than what a lot of people want to think it was. Yeah. He was always going to be an Oklahoma guy. You know, he wanted to be an Oklahoma guy. But you're going to have to land some of these cats, you know, otherwise I don't see it really changing. And they don't really have a game changer quarterback.
Yeah. Tyler, what's his name? Van Dyke. He had a good freshman. He had a good freshman season. I think Josh Gaddis kind of stumped his career because he wasn't the OC everybody thought he was. I think he may try to get back to that today. I will say that they do have a two-headed monster at running back. There's 21 and 22. That's all I know. Those dudes can tote that rock. And Cam Kitchens is that dude on defense at safety, so he cleans up a lot of the mistakes that they have. It's like I say, Miami, Ohio wasn't a huge test. They play Texas A&M next week. Texas A&M handled business today against New Mexico. Wasn't really a big task, but you know we all have been talking. You know, last couple of weeks, will Jimbo get out of Petrino's way? Because if he does, we all know they definitely have the talent. Coach, what you thinking about that? Will Jimbo get out of his way?
I think we all know the answer to that. Hell no.
We're still
Jimbo's ego is bigger in the state of Texas. And he will not allow that to happen. And that's going to be the last straw for Jimbo.
Shouty, you watch that Texas A&M, New Mexico. Again, not a hard competitor. Next week we got Texas A&M, Miami. Both of them took on a group of 5, you know, type team. Both of them look pretty good. What you thinking?
You know, Coach, I'm just gonna be honest with you, man, and I'm gonna put this blanket statement, which I probably shouldn't do, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna put a blanket statement on what I've seen from week 1. And I kind of went into this expect you're not gonna really learn a lot from anybody. Because just based off the schedule and way things were set up. I mean, when I tell you people were being very vanilla, very basic, not showing anything.
I think that's definitely true for the elite teams. All the elite teams, like if not, I ain't gonna say struggle, but definitely didn't come, you know, like they was national championship was on their mind.
And what I would say, I think you used the perfect word. It wasn't that they struggled. It didn't look good.
Yeah.
But it didn't look good based off the game plan and based off the expectation.
Oh,
but a lot of these and a lot of these, you know, top 5, top 10 teams, they were putting in players at position that really matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you were starting new people in position that really matter. Where I mean, like as the Alabama or Georgia, Ohio State, their quarterbacks, they hit a lot of flaws. You don't really know what you have without those guys because they made so many plays. Yeah. So a week like this, I'm gonna be honest with you. A week like this, you just kind of really just trying to feel things out and not get players injured.
That's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's a big thing.
So, so just, you know, just to say this as a blanket statement once again, I think it was a weekend where, you know, there were matchups made and it was really just getting through the weekend, getting a lot of players, a lot of experience. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you playing a lot of second string, third string players because that was the matchup. So for anybody who come out this weekend and want to try to really critique teams and say they're going to do this and do that, you're tricking yourself. Because trust me, you ain't seen what teams really are.
Yeah, I think you had like the Utah-Florida game where you needed to bring your A game. I think you had Nebraska, Minnesota. When you Power 5 on Power 5 and at that same level, like, you know, like you said, like Ohio State, Indiana, not for nothing, gave them a good first, like 2.5 quarters. I think Kyle McCord is good. I don't think him or Devin Brown or anything close to CJ Stroud. Just watching them throw the ball. I'm not saying that they was trying to go out there and beat Indiana by a lot, but They just didn't look like they were that kind of guy that can make, like, they can make all the throws, but like CJ, he was so accurate. It's like he was just handing you the ball instead of throwing you the ball. So Ty, man, I mean, I know you watched that Ohio State Indiana. Indiana actually looked good in the trenches, and this is supposed to be the year that Ohio State has better defense. I just didn't see enough oomph from that defense. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that game?
Yeah, I actually didn't catch as much of that Ohio State game as I would have liked because I hopped on an hour and a half live stream right after those morning games. So I was trying to stream and watch the Texas game. So I got to go back and rewatch that Ohio State game. I didn't get to catch almost any of it. Chat was telling me to watch it, but I was trying to catch the few other games and live stream. So I missed that one, unfortunately.
Jason, did you get to catch that Ohio State Indiana any of the first half or the second half?
I caught a little bit of it towards after once the CU game got over with. I picked up a little bit of it. I had to go take the dog out first, but yeah. Hey, look, I don't think that we've been saying we're not sure what they're going to look like offensively. Maybe Brian Day needs to continue calling plays or something because they just didn't look like they had that. And look, man, you've got the best freaking receiving core in the country, and it's not really close. Right.
Listen,
I mean, you know,
I think it's a little closer.
I think Washington might want to have a little sit down with you. They got them in spades. I'm
with you on that, and I also will tell you that Texas has a hell of a receiving room too.
A&M's got a hell of a receiving room too.
Running back room.
Moose Muhammad, Evan Stewart, Anais Smith.
I think when you talk of those top
countries there, and they're getting 5-star after 5-star after 5-star there. Ryan Day, if there's anything they do very well, it's offense. But they better get better on defense because when they get if they're going to get to the playoff, and look, I don't even know that it's a foregone conclusion. I know I feel like that coach should be bringing them there, and we know that they can recruit there. So there's got to be something else to it. You know, I don't know. Maybe that's why he gave up the play calling. But no, they didn't look great. But they didn't look great in the first week last year either. Notre Dame did everything but beat them and they couldn't throw the damn ball.
But that's Notre Dame though. We talking about Indiana, bro. Indiana, they ain't beat Ohio State in 28 years.
I'll give you that. Yeah, look, the Big Ten is a slug. It's a weird freaking crap league, if you ask me. I'm not a fan of it. I don't enjoy watching it that much. I'll kind of look in on it a little bit, but it's like watching paint dry, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
And if you get in those kind of games, it works out for some of them, right? I mean, 7-3 the other night or 10-7, whatever it was with the Minnesota game. Yuck.
Yeah. Nebraska looked a little bit better coach in that game, but we'll see what they really made of. I guess a little bit more anyway. Colorado, but you brought up Notre Dame, Ohio State. Listen, man, Zach got a chance to go be on the field, press pass for the Notre Dame Tennessee State game. It was Tennessee State. There was a play, Blue. I don't know where you were standing at, man. It was 7-3 Notre Dame. Tennessee State's like on the 15-17, about trying to score. If the quarterback rolls out to the right, if he throws the ball a little bit inside, it's a touchdown, and then it's 10-7. I know they still lose, but at least it looks better. Did you get to see that play? Like, was that on your side or was that away from you?
No, I was right there. And let me tell you, after they fumbled that kickoff, it was really, really quiet in that stadium. There was a lot of nervous people there for a second because it was like, okay, it's 7-3. They're in the red zone. And then one of the ushers was like, if we get another Marshall game, I'm going to be mad. This is a national championship team. But, I mean, there were some nervous fans. But then they blocked the field goal, and it just got out of hand. I think when I look at Notre Dame, I know it's Navy and Tennessee State. I get it. I understand why people are skeptical. Sam Hartman's the real deal, man. I don't care. Like, he has been so efficient and he's so mature. And we've kind of seen with the transfer portal, when mature quarterbacks, 24, 25 years old, get to good programs with good weapons, it's different. I mean, it's a different level. And I think there's a reason Sam Hartman went to Notre Dame because they have weapons. Their running back room, their starting running back, I'm forgetting his name, number 7. That guy that kid's a grown man. I'm talking about there's a time where I like running backs that like to bring the physicality to the defensive player rather than just absorb the hit. He was running over people today, and that he runs so angry, and their offensive line is huge. Yeah, I'm talking about they have legit size, and even when they brought in their backups, I think their backup left tackle's got to be 6'7", 6'8". I mean, they look physical, they look disciplined. And I think my biggest question for them is what's going to happen when they face these explosive offenses, if they get down 10-0, if they get down 13-0, what's that response going to be? But I think right now, man, Notre Dame to me is a bona fide top 10 team. I think because when you look at last year, they struggled a bit. But it's because, they are. I'll say it. They're a top 10 team right now because their quarterbacks were horrible last year. Buckner was not the guy. And I think him transferring to Alabama and not winning the starting job there even further solidified how much he's not the guy that you need at quarterback. I think with Sam Hartman coming in, this is a team that can compete. Now, are they a natty contender? Not going to go that far yet, but I think that they definitely can find a way to a New Year's Six bowl at least.
Yeah. So my question about Sam Hartman was always, can he transition from the mesh point, the really long mesh point at Wake Forest to what they run at Notre Dame? And so far, again, like you say, take it with a grain of salt. It's been Navy and Tennessee State, but he's looked very comfortable. You talked about the experience of the quarterback. Coach, what's your thoughts on Sam Hartman? Again, we all know the level of competition, but just how he's looked in that Notre Dame offense.
Well, and you guys know I'm gonna show bias because I am a huge Notre Dame fan, have been since I was 6 years old. But I believe that once we got Sam Hartman out of the portal, that we were gonna be a top 10 team. And I saw when I was in Dublin, Ireland, watching that ball game last weekend. After that game, I could see the end of the tunnel. I could see a small light that said national championship down at the end of the tunnel. Okay. And it's because he is so cool, calm, and collected. Guys, we have one of the best offensive lines in the country. We were pretty damn good. We were pretty damn good last year, guys, as a football team. But we didn't have a quarterback that could throw to feed the starving birds. And hell, we should have beat Ohio State, and the quarterback lays an egg and just hands them the damn ball. But Hartman, guys, is the real deal. He's very cool, calm, collected. And if he gets any pressure, if he's getting pressure, he's getting out of it, keeping his eyes down the field and going to second, third, fourth targets and making some big plays. And talking about the running back room, you got Estime, you got Payne, you got Price, you got Ford, you got Love. Guys, that room is loaded. My concern right now offensively is our tight ends aren't looking so fantastic. And then, one of the big concerns of everybody was the wide receivers. Well, hell, how can you know if the wide receivers are worth the shit if you can't get the ball to them? I mean, hell, if you can't get the ball in their hands, they're not going to be very good. That's a given deal. But no, I think Hartman, and not only does he bring some calmness and has changed the culture to the offense, but you can see it through the entire program, offensively, defensively. I think they're the real deal, guys.
Okay. Hey, man,
we won't know until we play Ohio State.
That's big facts. Hey, man, just to let y'all know, man, it's a Saturday Night Snap Count recapping college football week 1, man. Listen, we are bringing y'all a lot of good talent on this call, man. We got Ty from Around the Table Sports, Jason from Hall of Fame, Zach, Blue Bloods, man, Thad, just my opinion, and Coach from the Hall of Fame as well. Y'all make sure y'all hit that thumbs up, man. Wipe your feet, as Jason would say, man. So, Ty, did you get to see that Alabama first half?
Oh, you already know. Listen,
like I said, man, and Shawty kind of said it, man, you've seen a lot of kind of like, vanilla play calling and things of that nature, especially, like I said, from the elite teams, from the Ohio States, from the Bamas, from the Georgia, Michigan. Just give me your thoughts on Jalen Milroe and how his first half went.
Well, I think that, you saw that first play, which was absolutely scripted, exactly how that first Jalen Milroe touchdown was supposed to go. That Nick had told Seth, hey, snap it low. We want to get that highlight in here. So don't be thinking that wasn't by design. That was all a part of the plan. But what I saw is when Alabama kind of started to sputter a little bit, and I'm interested in hearing the panel's thoughts on this, what I noticed was almost a change in what they were trying to do offensively, where it really looked like they were almost more interested in spreading it out with Milroe, right? Where they had him in shotgun, just spreading it around to different wide receivers. And he was completing passes, but we just weren't getting the first downs, right? Like we'd be able to drive, 3 and out. But when they started going to that quicker read stuff, that's when you started seeing the 40-yard touchdown, the 48-yard touchdown. He had another 40-plus yard touchdown that should have been, but the DB made a really smart play and just dove and grabbed Isaiah Bond's legs instead of allowing him to get the touchdown. That's where I think you really started to see Milroe get comfortable, is when they started finding, oh, this is the start. This is the type of offense that you're going to just excel at. The other thing, and I said it before we got in here when I was in the green room, watching Tommy Rees use 12 personnel in the manner he did, guys, I got to let y'all know this right now. There's a tight end for Alabama who coming into this year, a lot of people didn't know. Exiting this year, you will know. 84, Amari Niblack is going to be an absolute mismatch. Write it down. So super happy to see that. Still looking for more development. Yeah. Golf clap all the way around. Still looking for more development out the defensive front. I think that will come, right, as more guys get sure of themselves, as the rotation continues to develop. Texas is next week. That's going to be a huge game. Texas has that kind of tendency to play up or down to their level of competition they play. So you can't ever sleep on them. But look, I'm just very excited for Jalen Milroe. Really happy that he got to go out there and ball out today.
Yeah, man. For years, y'all have had bigger, one of the better wide receiver cores. Last year was kind of not the Alabama standard.
True.
Even though you had talent. I think today, just one game, but Isaiah Bond might be wide receiver 1. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think he might be. Look pretty good. What you think about that? And then we'll get the panel's thoughts on Alabama's first half.
Bond was very impressive. And it's interesting. There are a few wide receivers that all have the ability. Malik Benson, he only had the 1 reception today. Keep your eye on him. But Isaiah Bond had an unbelievable game. And I think the area where you're going to see a lot out of him is he's going to work a lot from the slot. And using that 12 personnel, trying to see how they can't free up with Isaiah Bond on the field, some pre-snap motion. I'm just very excited to see what Rees continues to have up his sleeve.
Okay, Jason, what did you think about that Alabama first half, man?
Yeah, I think they look about how you would have expected them to. But real quick before I get into that, Baylor just lost to Texas State, folks.
Somebody said it was down 11. I didn't know it was fourth quarter.
I told people it was going to happen too. Don't play with my guy G.J. Kinney. I'm telling you guys. He will be coaching at A&M or Texas in the next 5 years.
Yeah, because the other ones are going to gag their ass off like next week.
Guys, I've been talking about Baylor for a year now, saying they're headed in the wrong direction, and
they got administrative problems.
They have huge problems,
and
that program is going downhill quickly.
Listen, another score update. Penn State just beat West Virginia 38-15. We'll get back to that game. Shout out to my guy Andrew, Sideline Sports, Penn State. Hey, shout out to Kim, man, from the Hall of Fame Mafia. It's my guy, man. He say, Coach I, Coach Shawty, Ty, Jason. Hey, man, we got Zach in here too, man. Listen, man, what a show. Y'all smash the like button, dog. We trying to bring y'all an all-star cast every Saturday to talk about this college football, man. So, but you go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, look, from what I could tell, I mean, and I've been saying this a lot for the last couple of weeks. And hey, man, I'm as big a fan of Ty as anybody in here. Believe that. You watch this show, you're going to know a lot about that Alabama football team. Jalen Milroe, yeah, I think everybody thinks he's a runner. The dude could throw the freak of football. I think that the things that they were doing last year under the coordinator they were under may not have fit him very well, and so he didn't show very well in in that Texas A&M game. I also think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Texas A&M has one of the best defensive lines in the country. Is going to get a lot of pressure on you. When you get one-dimensional, it's hard, right? I would look. I feel like this is the kind of this is exactly what Nick Saban likes. Though anyway, we're going to bully the shit out of everybody. We're going to get in there. We're going to push them around on both sides of the ball. We're going to ugly up the game. And again, I think that when you look at this Alabama team, the best teams that they got to play all year, aside from Auburn, and I don't know what Auburn's going to look like. Aside from Auburn, they're all coming to their house almost.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Again, they handled UMass with no problem. Auburn did, but not for nothing. When Tyson Fumachan, former Clemson quarterback, before he got hurt, it was kind of like a back and forth. But after that, UMass couldn't, move the ball. But I think Auburn handled business like they were supposed to. But again, they're playing down on the Plains this year, and crazy enough, Alabama always has the better team, but when they're on the Plains, it's just something gets crazy, man. Listen, we got another guest, man. That Penn State just finished, so I guess he said he could join us. This is my guy from Sidelines Penn State, Andrew. What's going on, Andrew?
Holding their breath all day.
Listen, it was close in the beginning, man, but y'all pulled off, man. West Virginia was giving y'all some trouble. What's your overall thoughts on Penn State?
Drew Aller is the prince that was promised. The West Virginia offense got the second touchdown on our second and third stringers. We did not get to the quarterback as much as I would like. There's clearly a gap in interior defensive line. We had 3 starters that were actually out today, and West Virginia's strength is interior offensive line. So they got those early, 4th and shorts, and they kept on doing that. But Drew Aller, 21 of 29, 325, 3 touchdowns, and they covered at a backdoor touchdown. So I'm happy.
Shouty, did you see that any of that Penn State West Virginia? I know we hopped on as they was finishing up. Did you catch any of the first half?
I did not. But what I want to say is, and I won't say much. I just want to let Jason know. That's why I keep hitting the wet, because I love that sound effect, and I always had it and never used it.
It's so good. It's so good.
Right. So that's why I've been using it.
I thought that was Jason the whole time doing that.
I've been wondering.
I haven't hit it yet. I hadn't hit it yet, man.
Yeah, that was me. That was really a shout out to Jason. I was like, because he been using it in some previous podcasts. Like, bro, I had it all the time and never used it. But yeah. Anyway, but one thing I will say is I did not see that particular game, but just to go to something that we was talking about previously is that I think problem, well, not necessarily a problem, but the thing I think about Alabama is they have a problem in philosophy. It's about what Nick Saban wants to do, what his quarterback is able and allowed to do. Right. That's the problem I think that they're having at Alabama right now. Nick Saban wants to go more back to not having a great quarterback, a great defense, being able to run the ball, and just being, have a capable quarterback. And I think over the past, I'm gonna say 3, 4, 5 years, they've had offenses where they've been more quarterback dependent.
Yeah,
that has hid a lot of their deficiencies. So right now, I just think they have a philosophy issue, and that's what they're trying to, find that balance again. And once again, I'm glad, that's on them. I ain't got nothing to do with that, but I think that's what's going on with Alabama. And to Penn State standpoint, I'll say this once again, like everybody else, it's just the first game. People, please do not let this first game. You gotta understand, game plans are very vanilla based off the schedule and what you got to do. So just don't overreact to what you saw at the first game.
That's right. Kim gets in and say, "Where's Stat?" Listen, Stat guy went to the South Carolina North Carolina game. I don't know if he's hopping on. They just got beat 31-14 or something like that, man. So Stat may need to ride home for a little bit before he'll hit me up later tonight. I don't know if he go hop on tonight, man. So Zach, did you get to catch it?
Drake May throws a beautiful ball, man.
Listen, but we've been saying that though, man. Like Drake May is what it is, and listen, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I will not be surprised if he has a great combine if he goes before Caleb Williams in the draft. You heard it here first. I'm just letting you know.
That's a hot take, coach. That's a hot take.
Listen, the dude can spin the ball, and NFL been loving that dude since his freshman year. I'm telling you, dog. I'm just saying. All right, so Zach, did you get to catch any of that Penn State game?
No, I didn't. I was waiting for the Bama topic though, man. I did.
Go ahead.
Tie some flack, man, because they're definitely catching the L when they come to Jordan Hare later this year, man. Being an Auburn alum, I got to say that. But I think
I feel like that already.
Yeah. No, it's always like that. But with that rivalry, Todd knows that. There's never
all bets are off whenever that game comes around. And Jordan Hare is cursed.
That's true.
It's cursed.
Yeah,
bad things happen there.
Brian Harsin took that Nick Saban team with Bryce Young to 4 overtimes with a one-legged TJ Finley 2 years ago. So I'm not counting anything out on that game. But for Bama, though, man, I think the offensive line was my biggest takeaway. They have nailed the eval on that offensive line. That looks like
Coach
an
Wolford.
offensive line that line could start for some NFL teams, man. I mean, they've probably got 5 guys who all are going to end up playing at the next level. But I was a little bit surprised they weren't able to establish the run outside of Milroe with his legs. Their running backs really struggled against in a game that I thought that this would be the one they dominate. And I think looking next week to Texas, that's going to be something I'm really looking toward, because you're going to have to keep that Texas offense off the field because they are explosive, and the more opportunities you give them, man, the more interesting that game could get. So I think as great as Bama did look offensive line-wise in terms of pass blocking, stuff like that, I really am interested to see, is it an offensive line blocking issue? Is it a play calling issue? Or do they just not have a guy at running back that they had historically?
Yeah. So you brought up Auburn as well earlier. I know you were probably at on the field and stuff, but I watched. They started out with was it Peyton Thorne or whatever his name is from Michigan State, and then they went to Robbie Ashford. Do you have a quarterback situation there, or who's the quarterback there?
I think they're always gonna roll out Thorne first, but man, Robbie's too explosive to keep on the sidelines. I mean, it's the same kind of thing where you look with like Chris Leak, Tim Tebow. I'm not comparing them to them, but I'm saying it's that situation where Thorne's by far the better passer of the football, but Ashford's too athletic to keep on the sideline. I think you saw that today when you put him in for some packages, man, with his legs, he's hard to stop. He really is. And so I think Hugh Freeze is a creative enough offensive mind where we know Thorne is probably the guy going out first, but I got this secret weapon over here that if I can design something and we can score off of it, we're going to get him the ball sometimes.
Zach, you might got a little sense.
Hey, man, Zach know what he be talking about, man. That's why I had to bring him on, dog. Listen, man, let's get to some of these games where, we had one opponent very heavily outmatched the other opponent. Start with OU. They handled business like they were supposed to. Just give me some things that you like, today, Jason.
What's not to like, man? I mean, you go 73-0. You did your job. It's not like Arkansas State is a test, but you have to listen. You could go out there and lay an egg and do what Baylor just did, and so they didn't. They went out there. They put the hammer down. They kept their foot on the gas. They didn't lose intensity. A lot of times you see that, especially with the team that you overmatch. I think that obviously this has to continue from week to week. We saw this defense look pretty good in the first 3 weeks last season as well. It didn't look very good after that. Now, you have the buzzword around Oklahoma has been competitive depth. They have that now. And that's important. I think, you talk about that all the time in the SEC. You got to have depth. You have to have depth, particularly in the trenches, in order to be able to run the kind of defense that they want to run. I think that they have that. But they, look, you had the quarterbacks between both of them, and Jackson Arnold got to play. He was 11 of 11 in the game.
I like Jackson.
Between Dylan and Jackson, they went 30 for 33 in the game.
Which is, like you say, handle business like you were supposed to. You know what I'm saying?
It was business. Right. They went to work. They did what they're supposed to do. Are you going to pat them on the back a bunch for beating Arkansas State? No. But you got to do what you're supposed to do. You know, special teams look good. That was something that never happened under Lincoln Riley, and it won't happen at SC either. Look, it is what it is.
There it is.
It is what it is. So
We went an hour. We went an hour.
Shots fired.
We went an hour before the shots came out.
Yeah. Now that one I like.
Hey, listen, man. Like you said, y'all handle business. Again, it was Arkansas State, but you did what you're supposed to do against a team like Arkansas State. Another team, Oregon. I forget who they were playing, but I didn't see the game. But 81. I mean, I don't know what we were doing at the end. Were we still trying to score like actively when it was 70 or something to nothing or whatever it was? So, hey, they handled business nonetheless. Michigan 30-3 over Central Michigan, I think it was. So, Hey, listen, Tennessee handled business, and bro, I don't know. More
They
so
got a
about
problem at quarterback.
listen. I'm gonna tell you, Joe Milton was like, I want to say he was 8 for 9 in the first half, or 6 for 6. I'm sorry, 6 for 6 in the first half of passes of 9 yards or in, whereas and then passes of 10 yards or more, he was like 1 for 8. A couple of those was drops. I will put them on the receiver. Again, I've been telling Tennessee fans they don't have the cast of receivers that they had last year, but a couple of them, he was just like, he was airmailing those things, and I'm like, this dude is just like too strong sometimes or something.
Good thing K. Chris ain't in here.
If you in the stands and you holding the beer, you need to be careful because he might fuck around and knock your beer out your hand.
He's like Donovan McNabb 1 year out of Syracuse. He was throwing balls so fast on like little in routes.
Yeah,
Bruh.
big facts. Oh,
He's just got a fastball though. Like
Bro, you gotta
that's
throw
always
that
been the thing.
Shots fired thing.
that's true. That's true, Ty. Listen, Wyoming 17, Texas Tech 17 is an
Fun
update
game.
from
Mid-off.
Steve B.
Ooh, not
okay.
Texas Tech. That's everybody dark horse, ain't it?
That's my dark horse. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna run from it. They gotta listen. They gotta
They
do
got
something.
thunder snow there before the kickoff. You
That's
don't
right,
know
that's
when
right.
you're going to go into War Memorial Stadium and see what kind of weather they got up there.
That's crazy, man. But in that Tennessee game, Ty, I mean, Milton is a better athlete than Hendon Hooker, but I've always said he's not as accurate. And I think those problems could rear their ugly head later on down the line in that SEC schedule. What you think?
No, 100%. Look, Hendon Hooker was someone whose veteran experience really shone through. And yes, I understand Milton is a veteran as well, but one of them is
Veteran at losing his job.
One of them is much more adept in a complete passing game than is Joe Milton up to this point. Now, the one thing everybody on the panel recognizes, if he gets adept at the passing game, my goodness gracious, I mean, he can quote Napoleon Dynamite. He could throw a ball clear over those mountains back there, and he could actually do it, right? That's not Uncle Rico talking. He could send that ball clear over. But guys, Tennessee is also without Hyatt. You pointed out they don't have that wide receiver that they did last year. And even last year, man, like that connection Hyatt had with Hendon Hooker, I'm really interested in seeing Tennessee, that defense, if they roll out that same secondary they had last year, which was 121st in the nation against the pass, they are going to get cooked, because I don't know that you can rely on Tennessee comfortably dropping 55 at will this year like they did last year. And God forbid Nick Saban and that Alabama defense, 3rd and Golding, you see the bunch formation, you see the motion out, and you let your strong safety match up with their fastest receiver 5 times in a row before maybe you say, let's get out of this defensive formation. And guess what didn't happen after they said that? Jalen Hyatt didn't score again. Unbelievable that game was, but I digress.
Yeah, man.
They don't have Jalen Island anymore.
They don't have Jalen Hyatt, and Pete Golding can't hurt me anymore.
That's right. Listen, and staying in the SEC, man, y'all was asking where he is. Listen, went to the game. He's here to take his medicine, man. It's my guy, the stat guy, bro. He coming from the South Carolina, North Carolina game. Listen, stat, man, it's a tough one for you, bro.
Hey, look, I told you beforehand, I was worried about the offensive line. I was worried if we're going to be able to run the ball. Bro, look, we're going to have to pass that thing 100 times a game if we're going to beat anybody this year. We can't
I tried
run.
to
I'll be honest though. What really ain't, I
Don't
ain't
put
making
it in
excuses.
Spencer hand.
I'm here to
Yeah.
take my medicine. I'm not making excuses, but our starting right tackle, first play of the game, Juice tried to give it a go and didn't play after the third play of the game. That hurt. I mean, you were asking who wide receiver number 2 is. Xavier Legette had a huge night for us. But look, man, start the second half. We get the onside kick and then go forward out, man. It just can't happen. Like, you got to score and get the momentum back right there, take the lead. And then we were just behind the 8 ball. Two really good interceptions in the second half, but if you give Drake Mays 5 seconds to throw, he's going to dot up every team in the country.
I'm trying to tell you, and listen, when we did our preview, we talked about the gimmick stuff. I consider going for fourth down. I'm not saying that's gimmicky, but that's one of those things that you do sometimes when you don't need to do it. He followed the onside kick up. He got it. Hey, shout out to special, Beamer ball and the special teams, and then you go for it on fourth down and you don't get it. Is that like something y'all kind of worry about this season, man? Him doing too much of the whole come out, let's the onside kicks and the special trick plays.
So I kind of wondered if we were going to onside kick it, start in the second half. I mean, that just has Beamer ball written all over it. We get the onside kick, first down, we throw out and like an out route, and the wide receiver going to the ground. It was a low ball, but he probably should have had it. Second down, we run and pick up 4 yards, ran an out route on third down, and he just overthrew the receiver, and they came back and ran the same play on fourth down. It was wide open. The wide receiver thought about the touchdown, and so he dropped the ball. I like the play call because the play was there. It was money. It was wide open, and Spencer had pressure on third down, just missed the throw. So I didn't mind the fourth down going for it, running the same play. It was still there again. The wide receiver just dropped the ball.
I got you. I opened up the show, just a sidebar, man. I opened up the show talking about ESPN Game Day. You was there. It's just not the same oomph. I like Pat McAfee and all of that. I like his energy. I think it'd be good if they had more people around his same energy as opposed to having him with that cast that they have. How was Game Day while you was up there?
Yeah, man, look, Lee Corso, me and you talk all the time. This has to be his final year, whatever the case may be. But him being as bad as he is takes away from Kirk Herbstreit, because Kirk is there babysitting him, trying to put him on his back and drag him through the show. And we really lose some of what Kirk brings to the table because he's so focused on dragging Lee through the show and making sure he doesn't insert foot in the mouth. Look, man, I hate it because for the new generation of people just getting into college football, they're not seeing the Sunshine Scooter. But if you're no longer the Sunshine Scooter, hey man, it's time to hang up the headgear. Thank you for 30 years, but it's time, man. It's too long. I don't want to. I tell you all the time, man. I'm so afraid we're gonna see this man take his last breaths on national TV, and that scares the hell out of me as a college football fan.
Yeah, man. So, hey, man, listen, like I say, for those younger people that didn't get to see the younger, guy that we grew to love on Game Day with Lee Corso, go back on YouTube and watch it. It's just like he's a good part. I just don't want to see him, deteriorate on TV, man.
Yeah. I tell you,
he already deteriorated.
I'm talking about like I don't want to see it further. I don't want to see it further. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be honest. You know what it reminds me of? Watching him now reminds me of that show they used to do with Lou Holtz and Mark May. It's like, bro, like get this man off of TV. Like he doesn't know what he's saying. He trips over words, says wrong things, everything. Like,
and Mark would make you cringe. He was just all over Coach Holtz all the time, man.
And Coach Holtz was the same way. You know what I'm saying? Coach Holtz was the same way. It's like, listen, man, we all see it. It's time to, give his flowers and farewell tour, and then, head
but
out.
I'll be honest.
Have y'all seen the behind the scene? They like really didn't get along, like for real. Like Mark May and Lou Holtz.
No one got along with Mark May.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you. The thing that hurts me as a college football fan, I get that you have to make cuts or whatever the case may be, man. It's all about the mighty dollar. But how do you get rid of David Pollack and keep a man that doesn't need to be on TV? Like that you're making pay cuts. That's when you be like, hey,
Desmond Howard now, bro? Him in Werther's Originals.
Are you talking about Desmond Howard now?
Yeah, listen, man. I could do without Desmond. Listen, man. That
I'm
dude.
over
Listen,
Desmond, bro.
hey,
He just bursts out laughing. It's so weird.
all-time great football player.
But you
but
got
I
to
could
add a
do it.
little color. For you got to add a little color.
Yeah, I know that, but they got Spears. Listen, they got Marcus Spears they can pull over there from the SEC
Thank
Nation,
you.
man.
Hey, or
Listen,
go get Keyshawn Johnson.
something.
No, he went to the dark side. He's with Skip Bayless.
Listen, man. Go steal Lil Wayne or Richard Sherman or somebody from Skip Bayless. He got a whole crew over there.
Knowing ESPN, they're going to go get Kendrick Perkins and put him on game day.
Oh,
next,
boy,
and
how?
it's going to be all hell breaking loose.
Yes.
Now, whether y'all know it or not, ESPN is really failing. Like they going in the tank from a number standpoint.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah. Disney is hemorrhaging money on ESPN. That's why listen, man. That's why you guys has got Spectrum here in the Southeast or around the country. That's why they doing what they doing. They're trying to hold them. Disney's trying to hold them to the wall, and Spectrum's like, man, we see what y'all doing, man. We know y'all need money. We ain't paying y'all jack. So Disney's trying to power move right before kickoff on the Florida-Utah game. They pulled the plug on all the channels.
Yes.
So if you don't already, you need to get Hulu Live TV or YouTube TV. Hulu Live TV only lets you have 2 screens as far as in your house. YouTube, you can pay for extra, and you get 4 games if you want to. You know what I'm saying?
And unlimited DVR too, so you can record all the other games.
I have every game from the weekend recorded.
That's what I have.
Big facts.
Yeah.
Big facts.
The number
big
one
facts.
thing is the 4 games at the same time.
The multi-view?
Everyone absolutely loves that.
I'm never leaving my house again.
I know it. So listen.
Hey, real quick.
Go ahead.
Hey,
Stat.
real quick, Coach. Let me give my boy Jason a shout out. I've been busting their chops for the last 2 weeks, but damn if Oklahoma didn't put on an offensive show today. I'm out here just swallowing medicine all the way around.
Hey, that's how it is, though.
Hey. Don't drive the car off the road, bro. It's gonna be okay. Y'all get rid of Spencer Rattler's ass pretty soon.
Oh no, don't worry, it's gonna be okay because I'm still peeking Tulsa to beat y'all next week. Don't worry.
Yeah. So listen, bro. I'm glad y'all went there because I want to go around and get the games that people are looking forward to next week. Coach, give me a game you're looking forward to seeing next week.
Well, I darn sure want to see that Alabama game. I think that's going to be a big one, and I just want to say I think Alabama will win that game, and I still think guys when we put Saban down and out, that's when he comes back with a vengeance, and I still see them being one of the Final Four teams. But I will say this, Ty, I am super glad that y'all have Tommy Reeves calling plays. And I'm also super excited that y'all have Buckner as your backup quarterback.
There it is, Andrew. So we got to vote for Alabama, Texas for next week, man. Give us a game you're looking forward to next week.
I mean, outside of Alabama, Texas, it is tough because, that's going to take the hearts and minds. But let's go to Big Noon Kickoff. Let's go to Coach Prime, who had his signature win week 1. No one saw it coming. They looked so
time
good.
out.
Easy.
I'd say, okay, not that one, but I would say most.
I was
Most
on here
said
with
that
you
they
last
would
week
have
telling you.
They were 21-point dog. I'm going to say let's go to Colorado for the home opener against Nebraska. Old school, Big Noon Kickoff. I am pumped to see that because this week Coach Prime is going to live rent-free in everyone's heads because that man is going to talk, market, and make money.
That's big facts, man. That's big facts. Ty, you all over college football, man. We know Alabama, Texas is playing, man. What you looking forward to next weekend?
Man, you didn't think I wasn't going to say Alabama, Texas. I'm disappointed in you. You don't think I can't have a matchup of that magnitude week 2 and not be excited. Look, if you're an Alabama fan, Texas offensively presents challenges that you won't see for the rest of the season, barring A&M figuring it out offensively and Petrino all of a sudden yanking away that ancient Jimbo offense and throwing it away. But outside of that game, there are a few games I think people really need to be excited about. First and foremost, you hit the nail on the head. That Nebraska-Colorado game is going to be money. The biggest thing Nebraska will try and do is run it down Colorado's throat. Can that defense hold off that Colorado offense? I think the answer is no. But I'm also very excited for this. Where is it? I'm very excited to see this Ole Miss Tulane game. And I know that's not a game that a lot of people are going to be hankering down on, but I just am super interested to see what this quarterback situation continues to work out with Ole Miss, because they took how many transfer portal quarterbacks? And it's not like they're true freshmen either. So that's a game I'd be watching.
Okay, Shawty, what you got on next week, man? We got Alabama and Texas. We got Colorado and Nebraska, man. What you looking forward to?
Okay, I'm gonna say this, Coach. I literally come on this show to find somebody I can pick on. So with that being said, I want to give my flowers and respect to Zach, Ty, my Penn State guy who I met last week, at Jason,
Andrew,
who I know, and Coach. I respect all of y'all because y'all halfway know what y'all talking about. And I ain't really got nobody to pick on tonight, so that kind of threw my whole, one sway off. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all guys really on your shit, and I respect that and I appreciate that. And to answer your question, I'm gonna go back to what Coach said earlier. I'm really looking forward to this Alabama and Texas game. I really was wanted to lean toward Texas based off what happened last year, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if yours the guy. Because he got everything around him. Like everything, running back, receiver, fine. But the trigger man is just not doing, which I said in the earlier show, I think the backup is better than he is. Texas got one of the best quarterback situations.
Malik? Oh, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that
Much
being
better.
said, I'm really looking forward to that game. And just shout out to the panel, man. Like, Coach know who I am, and Jason, for the ones who know me, I love to talk shit, and I can't even talk shit because y'all guys, y'all on your P's and Q's. So shout out to the panel. But the Alabama and Texas game, to answer your question, what I'm looking for.
That's right, man. Yeah, shout out to the panel, man. We try to bring y'all that heat every Saturday, man. 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, man. Y'all make sure y'all get in here for the Saturday night snap count. Listen, Sooner Cowboys said OU and K-State for the Big 12. Okay, calling the shot. I see you. Blue, who you looking forward to next week? Is it just the Alabama, Texas, or you got something people need to be watching out for?
Man, I thought I had an underrated one because Todd kind of took mine. I was going to pick Ole Miss Tulane because I've been calling that upset since the offseason. But I will say another upset to watch. App State is the FBS killers, Power 5 killers. And North Carolina just had a big win. They could be sleepwalking into that App State game, and App State's done it before. App State,
and I just gave you a bunch of credit.
No, listen, and it wouldn't be me if I didn't pick an FBS game.
That's right.
If you guys want to really watch some good football, number 1 South Dakota State hosts number 3 Montana State, and they've played 3 consecutive years in the FCS semifinals. Both have been to the national title in the past 2 years. That's going to be Alabama Texas is going to be great. The second best game of the entire week is going to be Montana State traveling to South Dakota State, 6 p.m. Central Time.
Okay.
I
Listen,
like that, man.
I'm gonna get in here before y'all steal all the good games, man. Listen, I'm going
Zach,
with
I love South Dakota State, by the way. I'm going to the Dakota Marker game later this year. So
you got some FCS. Listen, y'all make sure y'all follow Zach, man. He is on top of the FCS. Like I say, he's an FCS poll voter and everything, man. Listen, that dude be on it, y'all. Y'all gotta go check out the Blue Bloods channel, man. I'm going with Texas A&M Miami, man. I want to see which one of these guys' job gonna be on the line, because that's what I think is going to be after this game. I think somebody's job is on the line after this game, bro. I mean, you got Cristobal down there who was supposed to be a good recruiter. He is doing a little bit better. We don't know what's going on, whether they can actually throw the ball or not throw the ball. Like I said, I think they got a good running game. The defensive front seven, are they good? We don't know. Cam Kitchens is the real deal at safety. Then you got Jimbo with all the talent. All the talent. I mean, I don't know where they don't have talent, to be honest with you. I mean, they pay good money for it. It's time for it to show up. You know what I'm saying? And as most of the panel has said previously, they don't think he's getting out of Petrino's way. So that might be to his detriment. So that's the game that I'm looking forward to next weekend because I think one of those guys are going to be on the hot seat afterwards. Stat guy, what you looking forward to next week, man?
Hey man, look, I'm gonna let you know. I'm looking forward to Furman coming to South Carolina next week. And look, here's why. Here's why though. So we're banged up. Furman's not a bad football club. They're gonna make the playoffs in the FCS. Can we dominate an FCS team like we should? And here's my concern. If that happens and we see Sellers, Spencer Rattler might be in trouble.
There's the hot take of the night, man. If they struggle to score against Furman, then we may see more Anthony Sellers than Carolina fans were expecting in
Lenore's. Yeah. So, and here's the thing: we get Furman. Maybe we blow them out. Maybe we don't. Hopefully, we blow them out. But then the following week, we ain't even going to talk about where we had week 3 because I'm going to pretend that week don't even exist in my mind. And I'm telling you right now, depending on how that Furman game goes, week 3 could be the end of Spencer Rattler as we know it as a Gamecock, and that breaks my heart.
Shout out to Brian Bridges, man. Shout out to Brian Bridges.
What about the 5-star who run a 10-2?
Best thing that could happen to him.
But hey, I'm hopping off of here. Y'all have a great show. We hitting the road. We had no.
Hold on, Stat guy, don't go nowhere. Whoa, Stat, don't go nowhere.
What up?
I want to know what happened to the 6'5" guy who run a 10-2.
Nicholas Harbor.
So
you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. So Harbor and Juice Wells had their first practice in like a month and a half on Tuesday. Juice tried to give it a go, got banged up on the 3rd play of the game, and Nick Harbor was in for a couple plays. I don't truly believe either one of those guys were 100% and probably shouldn't have been playing tonight. So we will see Harbor in the future. Don't worry. You can bust my chops because he didn't have any counting stats tonight. But look, I don't believe he was 100%. He was on the field for a couple plays. But just know it's coming. Just know it's coming.
All right, man.
Like
hey,
Deion
y'all been
Sanders,
safe
Colorado.
on the road, man.
Coming.
And, hit me up when you get to the crib.
All right.
Be safe.
All right. Yeah, man. So listen, before we move on, I'm gonna get to Jason's
Hey, wait,
game
you're
or
gonna have to
whatever.
let me pick a game, right?
Yeah. That's what I said. Before we move, we're not gonna move on. We're not gonna move on. But before we do that, before I let you tell your game, Zach, I want you to talk about Furman. Like, people just hear Furman, and I'm not saying they should definitely not beat South Carolina, but talk about them as an FCS team, man. You got, like I said, you know it up and down.
That was a team that was 9-2 last year. They're ranked 6th in the entire country at the FCS level, and they've returned 10 defensive starters and 9 offensive starters. They got a lot of talent at Furman. They're going to be really good this year. I think they were my pick to win the SoCon this year, so they're probably going to win their conference in the FCS. And the 2 games they lost last year, one was a money game, and then they lost the only FCS game they lost in the regular season. They lost with the true freshman backup quarterback because their starter was out that week. And they lost by 7 to Sanford, who made it to the semifinals against North Dakota State. So that team's really good, and a lot of people are picking them to make a run to possibly the national title this year. So Furman won't be a pushover, but South Carolina State should still win that game. Listen, man, an SEC team should not be getting knocked off by an FCS school, but Furman's not going to be a team that you're going to go out there and probably put 50 on them.
That's right. And for those that don't know, Furman is in South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, to be exact. So it's a little bit extra incentive to play a little bit harder against those in-state schools because a lot of these players played together in high school. So, like I say, I think South Carolina's going to win, but I think Furman has some extra motivation. All right, Jason, what game are you looking forward to next weekend?
I'm going to give y'all 3. I got to give you 3, bro. Okay, because none of y'all said anything about these games, and it really, I don't understand it. Who the hell doesn't want to watch UNLV go to the big house and play Michigan? What the hell? And then you've got, hey, look, there's a bunch of these great games. Look at there. Where was this other one? There was one more that I really liked.
Iowa.
So Kim, while you're looking that up, Kim gets in with Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati. I do think that's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yes.
That's, border states. I think Pitt is good defensively. They got Bub Means at wide receiver. I think their running back's pretty good. Cincinnati didn't look too bad post Luke Fickell. I'm just going to be honest. I know they played somebody lower than them again, but I expected them to look a little bit, worse than that. But go ahead with your rest of your games, Jason.
No, and the other one I was looking at, hey, TCU got a chance to bounce back with old Nickel State, but I don't know that they will. No, I'm just kidding. But really, assuming that Texas Tech figures it out and finds a way to win tonight, I think they obviously overlooked Wyoming a little bit. And Wyoming's got a nice little quarterback. This is, it's a tough place to play, but that's a big Oregon. If they can win this game tonight, this next week is an important game with Oregon. That one, I mean, Coach and I plan to be in attendance for that one. We, hoping it's going to be a really good game. A lot of us have drank that Texas Tech Kool-Aid coming into this season. I still think they could be a year out from really competing, but I think they've got, I mean, as I told you before, 19 of their 22 starters are seniors, fifth or sixth year seniors. That's the same formula that TCU rode to the freaking national championship game last year. They should be able to figure that out.
Hey, Jason, you forgot one more game.
What's that?
Ohio State versus Ohio Middle School.
Oh, yeah, that one too.
All right, so who's BYU playing, Hank? He said they're in the fight tonight. Our guy, what's that guy? Big 12 Mafia.
Is that Kenya Matalolo's first game?
I think so.
Maybe.
Lone Star says Wyoming's quarterback is nice. He did look pretty good. The part that I caught before we hopped on. Tyler Shuck actually threw a lot of good, passes. And so.
Oh, BYU is playing Sam Houston up from FCS. They're the top. They were the top of the league last year, and they made the jump up to CUSA this year.
Yeah, this is their first year at the FBS level. Last year was that weird transition year where they're not eligible in FCS or FBS. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Still knotted up at 17 though with Tech and Wyoming, and it just started the fourth. So
hey, the incarnate word is giving UTEP all they can get. So I mean, you got to say the incarnate word.
Can I ask a question?
What's up?
What do y'all think about Mel Tucker at Michigan State?
Overpaid.
Well, definitely so, man. They struggle early in their game and pulled off late, man. I think schools now, they're jumping the gun on some of these coaches, giving them extensions in year 2 because they're scared that maybe they're not the school that they thought they were and they're just a stepping stone. Like, hey, I love my guy Dan Lannon at Oregon, but he got an extension. It wasn't the Mel Tucker, but he got an extension after last year. It's like, bro, you got to give me a couple of good years before I'm giving you an extension now. I'm like, you got to show me you can be consistent. You can't just roll up in there, go to a New Year's 6, and then the next year go 5-7 and just be like, oh, well, I lost all my players. Well, what was you doing where was the transfer portal then? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, they lost their quarterback. They lost Keon Coleman. So they lost their 2 best players. They lost some key pieces on their defense. So you're paying this guy $7 million a year. And if he's so darn good, why are people going to other schools not named Michigan State? And
that's a good point right there, Andrew. Like I said, I think Mel Tucker's a good recruiter, but why did Keon Coleman leave after playing for him? I mean, I get that, Jordan Travis may have been a better passer than their quarterback, but you got to recruit the guys that's on your roster these days. You got to recruit them so that they don't roll off to somebody else for to go get the NIL. So,
what excuse you have when Michigan is just right down the street from you, and they doing what they doing, and you're in the same conference,
same state, same conference,
and every single year you hear about Harbaugh going to the NFL and this and that, and now he's paying for cheeseburgers, and who gives a crap? But like, no one goes from Michigan to other places. No. Dallas to Cade McNamara, congratulations. You're going to get beat out by J.J. McCarthy like you did last year. And good for you to go to Iowa and still score, 24 points against Utah State. That is 1 point less than you have to do per average per game. And that was a layup. So maybe the nepotism in Iowa is going to end after this year. But, I mean, Michigan's doing their thing. They have a great team. And they're only building, and Michigan State is now falling down behind the other teams of the Big Ten, sans UCLA, USC.
Why? And
what are they going to do? I mean, Illinois is a better team than Michigan State right now, and they barely beat Toledo tonight.
Yeah.
The other thing that we just haven't even mentioned, right, is you talk about a Michigan State team. They lost one of the best coaches on that roster not but a few months ago, Marco Coleman, now with Georgia Tech. You talk about Marco Coleman being a big factor in them landing top 4-star. I think, what was he, Jason, top 100 player in the nation by Job the year before out of Oklahoma. Super, super high upside. And Marco Coleman had them in contention for guys such as a David Stone. David Stone going to Michigan State University, saying it was his favorite visit. He really connected with Coach Coleman. Then Coleman goes away. If I'm not mistaken, then they also pull Tunmais Adeleye from Texas as well in the transfer portal. Former blue chip guy. I think he was number 53 in the nation coming out of high school. So Marco Coleman was a big piece of that Michigan State recruiting staff, and he's no longer there. You gentlemen hit the nail on the head. They lost big pieces to the transfer portal. You lost your quarterback, and you lost your guy who y'all talked about Michigan, what they're doing. How about when Michigan State played them last year? If you want to watch the highlights of that game, just go type in Keon Coleman versus Michigan. You're not going to miss any Michigan State offense unless it came from Keon Coleman that game. They're no longer there. I have serious questions about Michigan State at the end of this season. Serious questions.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, shout out to Mike Wilkinson, man. He says he's out. Have a good night. We appreciate you coming in, man. Appreciate everybody in the chat. I see, listen, man, quickly before we go on about Michigan State, man. Listen, man, y'all getting on Cody, man. What's the Oklahoma State score? Listen, before I jumped in here, it was 13-0.
27-13 at home.
To Central Arkansas?
To Central Arkansas. They won by 14
That
points.
was a team in COVID that would play anybody, right?
So Zach, Central Arkansas, was that expected? Are they that good?
No.
They're not a top 25 team. They got some NFL I mean, their defensive end was the Buck Buchanan Award finalist. Was like second in FCS in sacks and tackles for loss. They got an NFL safety, but they're not a top 25 team. I mean, that's a hell of a performance to compete with Oklahoma State, though.
Oklahoma
Hey,
State.
man, somebody check on my guy Cody, man. Hey, Cody, man, listen, it is all good, my guy.
That
Take away
Gundy
the
sandwich,
shoestrings
and that Gundy sandwich. It's getting shittier and shittier.
Hey, let's not overlook the fact that Idaho State Bengals are actually giving San Diego State all they can get.
And Idaho State won one game last year too, and have a new head coach. By the way.
Wow. Listen, he said he watched the Colorado game. If Prime can do it, he can do it. He's like, he can turn them around just like Colorado got turned around.
Coach. Now, that sounds like me now.
You're right. You're right.
Why I got to be the one that can't do it?
That's right. Why the one? Why? Listen, why not?
Because there's only one prime time.
That's right. That's right. Listen, man, Michigan State got a lot of listen, if they don't go, me and Shawty was talking about this last night. If they don't win 8 games, we think listen, they paid a lot of money for the guy, and I'm not saying he's getting fired because that's a lot of money to in the buyout.
$7 million, $8 million a year.
Bro,
yeah.
You got to do something better. You got to do something better, especially listen, okay, we'll give you the Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State game, but you should be winning all these other games, man, and at least go 8-4, or you need to sit down with administration and talk about what's going on. And again, I at least thought Mel Tucker was a good recruiter. Losing Keon Coleman was the biggest, I would say, whiff of the recruiting season, not losing out on a high school guy or whatever. You can't lose a talent like a Keon Coleman if you're trying to get to a bowl game and possibly challenge Michigan and maybe beat them. I don't know. So
winning the game.
Wyoming, what's the score?
20-17.
2017. How much time left?
8:58 left in the game.
Ooh, oh my God. Stephen G says, Jason, how does it feel to actually be talking about the games? Listen,
I love it. I love it. Listen, tired of freaking recruiting. I'm so glad that we're talking about football, man.
Listen, man, I tip my cap to these guys on this show, man, because they do such a great job. In the off season, talking about conference realignment, recruiting, and all the off-field things. I always say, man, listen, I'm about the white lines, man. When you're in between the white lines, that's where I come in, and that's what I want to talk about. But shout out to all of y'all, because I follow y'all to keep up with the information. To be honest with you, listen, I was like conference realignment. Let me check out JJ and Ty. They be on it, bro. I'm like, I'm like recruiting. Let me go follow Blue and Copeland. Listen, I just
got you
I
on
can't do it.
conference realignment. Kuz and JJ got you, and Big 12 Mafia, they're gonna get you on that. I do a lot of conference realignment too, but there got to a point this summer I was like, I'm over this shit.
And what you weren't over today was
Hey.
when you saw your team curb stomp another team. I don't care if you're playing, you know,
It
St.
does, yeah.
Mary and Sacred Heart. You won
Right.
72-0.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Can I ask
smiling. You're
What's
still
up?
smiling.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
should
What's
be.
up, Shawty?
So to Ashley, my Penn State guy. I'm sorry, my screen's so small I can't see your name, but I missed
Andrew.
last
It's
week.
Andrew.
So to Andrew and the rest of the panel, with kind of just to piggyback off what Andrew just said, I just want to ask you this question. With the way that everybody felt about their team just being totally unbiased, what was the most underwhelming performance you saw today?
Okay, so we'll start Andrew, Penn State.
I think the lack of the fact that we couldn't get to the quarterback as much as we would want to. The coverage was good in the secondary. That wasn't going to be a problem. And we didn't clear enough long running lanes for Singleton and Allen to hit because they only need 6 inches and then they can get there. But we didn't formulate enough lanes for us to actually, hit that perfect thing and get to ESPN highlights. It took a great effort by a first-year starter for us to really feel comfortable. But I think the interior defensive line is still a weakness, and our offensive line is still gelling, and that's been like 6 years, and it's still downloading. It's kind of like when you're trying to download an app, and then you just see that circle of death. That's basically our offensive line. And hopefully by week 7, when we play Ohio State and Columbus, that thing is going to be fully downloaded.
So listen, I'm gonna jump in here and go second. I know we hadn't talked about the Dogs won 41-7 versus UT Martin, and y'all can check out our show this coming Tuesday at 8 p.m. where all of me and the rest of the cast members will jump in it. But the energy for one on offense looked like we had a national championship hangover. It looked like those guys were like, I got 2 rings. What else you want me to do type thing. It was just the energy of the whole thing. We didn't get a good rhythm. And then run blocking. I need to see more push on the line from run blocking. Like pass blocking, nobody's touching our quarterback. I mean, our defensive line can't get back there. But the run blocking, we didn't move the line of scrimmage far enough for me. I get it. It's first week. It's UT Martin. Well, move UT Martin like their name is UT Martin. I need you to move people a little bit more. I think my guy Dominic Levitt had a little bit of butterflies, nerves, or something. He dropped two catchable balls, but other than that, it's that energy, the rhythm, and that offensive line, moving the pile. Coach, your turn, man. What's something with Notre Dame, man? I know y'all 2-0, man. You got actually 2 weeks of film to go by. One that you took in person. What's something that you still think may be a weakness or something they gotta work on?
My thing that I've seen over the last couple of weeks is our tackling. We've got to improve our tackling. We're not, we're missing tackles. We're getting to the point of contact. We're making contact, but then we're sliding off the tackles, not wrapping up. And if we can fix that, I think we'll be okay defensively because we're getting there. Yeah, we're just not making a play.
I got you. And I know, Blue, I don't know how much of the Auburn game you got to see earlier. I know because you had some things going on, but you keep up with the team. You cover the team. So what's some things you think Auburn needs to nail down to be, 8-4, 9-3, whatever?
The run defense. I think we saw it against Penn State last year. I mean, Penn State came in there and played SEC ball against an SEC team and embarrassed them with Singleton. And I think today – UMass had a 100-yard rusher. I mean, that can't happen. You can't be giving up 100 yards rushing to UMass. So it's an issue because I think they have the defensive tackles, but the edge rushers are so young. I mean, you got the graduate transfers in Jalen McLeod and Elijah McAllister, but behind those guys are true freshmen. And we all know, I mean, unless you have like a top 30 freshman coming in, like what was it, Malachi Starks for Georgia or someone like that, they can start as a freshman. But if you're not a dog, it's hard to start as a true freshman in the SEC. And so I'm just worried about the depth at edge rusher. And I also don't like 3-man fronts. Ron Roberts.
We talked
does.
about that, didn't we, Jason?
Yeah, I played offensive line. As an offensive lineman, if I see a 3-man front that doesn't have a bona fide star at nose tackle, I know we can block that up. We're running it straight down their throat. The run fits are so easy with the 3-man front because you can't protect the linebackers from getting hit. If you're not deep on the defensive line, you have to run a 4-man front. I just think Ron Roberts, I didn't see that. And I think if you go with a 100-yard rusher to UMass when Georgia comes in with their running back room, when you face some of these other top SEC teams, man, that's going to cause a lot of problems. So I'm really interested in next week. Cal is a game that Auburn should win, even though it's on the road, but it will be a good test to see how their run defense evolves from week to week as some of these young guys get a little bit more snaps.
I got you. Ty, Alabama, man. Give me something you know that you haven't told us already you might need to work on.
So I'm going to echo something you said about Georgia, and I think it applies to Alabama. The pass blocking was fine. Run blocking wasn't where I wanted it to be, and y'all were talking about that. But there's one specific area where I think I can almost point you to. It's right guard. If you looked at the times where they were having any success running, they were bouncing it out to the left. Jace's touchdown went to the right, didn't see anything, bounced it left. And one thing I noticed, Middle Tennessee State, because of the massive talent deficiency, they like to try and send pressure from everywhere. And that right side was having a hard time in communication, ironing down who was supposed to get who. You saw Latham and Dalcourt not kind of figuring out where to pass the protections from. And Dalcourt is a guy who came from center. And everybody thought he was going to be left guard, but he ended up playing right guard. They slid Tyler Booker to left guard because Caden Proctor is a true freshman at left tackle. I think he's going to be very good. And Booker's
he's awesome.
Really good. That's the first area. Run blocking needs to continue progressing because I think y'all hit the nail on the head earlier. The line didn't get pushed around. They just didn't establish themselves the way you'd want. Defensively, they only had 3 sacks. Now, they generated a lot of pressures, but that interior defensive front for Alabama has got to continue progressing. I know Texas's offensive line didn't have a great day today. Everybody on this panel has seen the Texas Longhorns play up and down to the level of their competition.
Absolutely.
Big facts.
You don't roll the dice saying, oh, well, Texas didn't have the day they wanted against Rice. Week 1, whenever you know Kelvin Banks played how many first-round edge rushers last year? 4? Kelvin Banks is a true freshman, played 4 first-round edge rushers and allowed 0 sacks. 0 as a true freshman. He's that good. So that defensive front for Bama's got to continue progressing.
Okay, Jason, what I know Oklahoma is just a small sample size. You handle business, but I know you watch the game like we watch the games. There's something that you like, look, man, we can't be doing that when we play the better teams.
Yeah, I think that there was a couple of times that you saw them gash the coverage a little bit. You know, it's hard to pick anything out really when you go 73 up. I mean, shit, man. What do you want me to say? What I would tell you is go do it again because you go up against SMU. I think SMU is obviously going to be a better football team than what you went up against this week. You can go out there and I would tell you that you want to see them put their foot on their neck too and not let them get a bunch of points. I mean, you know, the offense. There was a couple of things that you didn't see Jalil Farouk and there's been times over the last few years that he has kind of disappeared for Oklahoma. Yeah. I think that a lot of people would recognize that. But I mean, today was kind of close to a perfect game. But I would tell you that Jalil, there's been times that he hasn't shown up, right?
Yeah.
And today maybe that was about the fact that they were finding Andrell Anthony. He was getting open. You know, he didn't. But it just didn't seem like he got. But look, man, it's a long season. Again, when you put up 72 freaking points, I mean, it is what it is. You go and you 73 points. Excuse me. You know, you take it. You take it. Yeah. Don't let SMU run it up. You know, I think that if they can get through these first 3 non-con games, not giving up any more than like maybe 15 or 20 points, I think it's probably a good sign moving forward.
Did you get Anthony this year in the transfer from Michigan, or was it last year?
This year.
Yeah. This year. And then Jalil Farouk, I know, is between OU and Penn State. Now, is he your slot guy?
No, Jalil's been there for the last few years, so he's
no. I know that. I'm just saying what XYZ, like which position?
Yeah, he's the X guy. He's the X guy. So he's been, but I mean, he's shown flashes at times. You know, he showed flashes 2 years ago in the Texas Bowl game against Oregon. I mean, he's got speed, he's got good hands, but there's just seems like there's times that he's maybe not into it fully. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where to get a little lazy or whatever. And you know, Shawty, I think you would probably say that it's easy to kind of take yourself out of the game if you're not getting looks or something early on. You know, some receivers don't do that, and I think that you have to make sure that you continue to do the right things, play after play after play, whether you're getting the ball or not, and that's when you get the trust of your quarterback, right?
Yeah, man. But like you said, 73-0. It's hard to pick out things. You know, I'm that kind of guy. I'm
not hating on Jalil yet.
Listen,
I think he's still gonna have a great year.
I'm watching the game, and when they drop passes that was third and long, I'm like, see, if that was such and such, he would have caught that pass. It'd have been a first down. We got to make sure we there. That's the kind of guy. Like even in the Georgia game, towards the end, there was when our second defense was in there in the fourth quarter, guy kind of ran I don't know if it was an out and up or just a straight go route, but it was cover 2, and he got behind the corner, and the safety didn't get over. He just literally dropped the ball on like the 15. I told my brother, I was like, he would have walked into the end zone had he caught the ball. Had that been another team, I don't know per se, we scoring that. But I know it's hard in that. So Shawty, it was your question, man. We're gonna finish up with you, man. Like what you seen for just a couple things from Georgia that you didn't like.
Okay, well, before I answer the question, once again, I'm gonna say shout out to the panel, man. I posed that question because I love to talk shit, and I was trying to set somebody up. But once again, all of you guys were on your P's and Q's. Like once again, I'm really just showing respect because if you know me, you know how I am. Trust me, I'm gonna go at you in your team. So shout out to Coach and Penn State guy, Jason, everybody that's on the panel. All you guys kind of. I have nothing really to disagree with and say nothing about. But one thing I will say is to answer the question is when you're talking about expectations and what I saw, I'm gonna say Ohio State and Georgia were the most two disappointing teams that I saw this week. And whether it be from whether you want to call it expectation, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna really just say from a standpoint of execution, because I don't care what you call, whether it's offensive or defensively, it needs to be executed. And neither one of those two teams executed at the skill level and talent level that they had. So I don't know if they didn't get up for the game. I don't know if it was play. I don't, any excuse you want to use, I'm just gonna spread whatever you want to say. Those particular two top teams, in my opinion, from the question that I asked, were the biggest disappointments in me. University of Georgia and Ohio State.
And so, Shawty, let me say something about that real quick. Just and we know, guys, how tough it is to three-peat. And that's why people don't three-peat, is because they get in that comfort zone and they automatically think, and hell, they ought to be thinking, we're going to come back and win it again this year. And I think maybe that's the start to some of that. Hopefully it gets cleaned up and they're back in that, because let's face it, guys, the Georgia schedule is not the toughest in the country.
No. Big facts. Big facts.
And so they're going to be, yes, absolutely.
Yes, me too.
And they're going to be in the hunt. They're going to be in the hunt. And Ohio State, all I can say about Ohio State, I think they're overrated. Bottom line.
Couldn't agree
with you. There it is.
More.
So speaking to that, like Kim gets in and says that even though, with the big blowout, say OU's backers and secondary not dropping into the right stick area and to stop the passing for first is still not right. That's what I'm saying. Those kind of things, whereas tonight it didn't hurt you. Yeah, tonight it didn't hurt you, but against, the better teams, it may hurt you. So listen, man,
week one, with him and Hank and some of these guys, look, the Hall of Fame Mafia gets it. These guys watch as close as anybody else this Oklahoma team. And they did pitch a shutout. I think that the thing that you liked about what you saw with the defense was the fact that they were physical at the point of attack and they kind of stayed there. That didn't mean they didn't make any mistakes. There was a couple of times that they got down there and had a couple of missed field goals. So it wasn't necessarily going to be a shutout, aside from the fact that because they did have a couple of blown coverages. I don't think you're wrong there. So and like I said, though, these guys, they get it. I mean, they're going to definitely call it out too. So you still got work to do, man. And I've even said
that's why you're a real one, man. You won 72-0. You still find faults. And that's why I know you're a real fan, man.
Yeah, that's how it's got to be.
You have to. It's about the minutia of the game,
right?
Yeah,
that's what I say. Minutia.
Yeah, it's like if you want to be that elite team, that's what Kirby's gonna do. That's what Nick Saban's gonna do. That's what Ryan Day. All these coaches that make it to the top of the mountain, they go back and say, "Look, yeah, it didn't work for them, but it may work if you still do that same mess up against the Tennessees of the world or the South Carolinas even." Anthony Mazzano says to me and Shawty, do you think it was that we were playing down to UT Martin? Honestly, I don't think it was we was playing down to UT Martin. I really think it was one of those. I've been saying it. Every time we get into a talk, people say, "You think you're going to three-peat? You think you're going to three-peat?" We got the talent to three-peat. We got the schedule to three-peat. But, bro, you think about this. There are literally sophomores, true sophomores on this team that don't know what it is not to win a national championship. So you can't tell me their heads ain't big. You know what I'm saying? Like they thinking like, bro, we stepped on the college, we won a natty. Second year, we followed that up with a natty. Like we just got to show up, roll out the G on the helmet, and people gonna fold, and that's not really what it is.
They're born on third base, man.
So it's like, bro, yeah. So I'm like, bro, complacency is the enemy this year. Like for real.
And to that point, Coach, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, you know what? With that in mind, you're going to get everybody's best shot. I don't care who you're playing. You're going to get everybody's best shot every week.
Yep.
Last year, Kent State gave you everything you can get for 3 quarters.
Big
now,
fact.
obviously, your talent overcame them. But
Missouri.
To his point, Missouri, every single person, you got a target on your back, man. 3-peat is tough. Hell, back-to-back is tough.
Yeah. Hey, and Alabama deals with that every year for the last 15 years. They got a big target on their back no matter what.
There's a reason people beat Bama and storm the field like they just won the Super Bowl. Because when you beat Bama, you just won your Super Bowl.
And now that's that.
And to the panel's point, what I would say is this right here. At the end of the day, we only count the W's and L's.
Yeah.
So it may not be as pretty and it may not be as convincing, but we only count the W's and L's. So keep that in mind.
That's big facts, man. That's big facts. So get to it. Listen, man, we been going. Listen, y'all fool around me. I have you on here 4 hours now. I can talk to you. I'm happy. I'm so happy college football back, bro. Listen, so I understand if somebody needs to drop off. That's but listen, we got a couple of questions that I had starred from earlier. Hopefully Carson is still with us. Carson Carpenter wanted to know what the panel thinks about LSU, FSU tomorrow. He's got FSU because he says, because technically this is still week 1. He says he's got FSU because they got a special quarterback. I'm gonna be honest with you, Carson. If you're still looking, man, they both got special quarterbacks. So
same numbers, the exact same numbers.
You know what I'm saying? And LSU got a good wide receiver core. Florida State has a good wide receiver core. You know, they both got talent on defense. And I mean, you got Harold Perkins on one
playoff teams.
Listen, man, you got Harold Perkins for LSU. You got Jared Verse for FSU. You know, so I guess Charlie, you down here, man. I'll go ahead and start with you, man. Just quick, what you expecting from tomorrow?
So are you asking me for like
LSU? Yeah, just like who you got winning?
You know, I listen. I don't know what's going on down in Tallahassee. You know, they don't put some in the Kool-Aid or the punch or whatever they drink. I don't know what's going on. I like FSU. I'm not gonna lie. I do see the progression in what Norvell is doing. I like what he's doing recruiting wise, and I think he has the program turning.
Yeah.
But I think LSU just has a little bit. I think they got a leg up on them. I got LSU winning this game. And I think the game that they won last year was because of a whole bunch of different circumstances. But I won't even go back to the past. But I like LSU.
I got you. All right, Zach, you're Auburn alum, man. You in that West. You see LSU every year. It's a big game, Tigers versus Tigers. Who you got tomorrow, LSU or FSU?
LSU. I actually had them in my preseason prediction making the playoffs this year. I think they can
What's
be
the
that number
spread?
2.
Sorry.
2.5. 2.5
2.5.
LSU. 2.5 LSU.
Yeah. But I think you look at Jaden Daniels. He took a massive step last year as a quarterback. I'm excited to see him in this offense year 2. And then, man, Malik Neighbors, he might be – he's one of the most underrated players in the country. That kid can ball, man.
Yeah, he can.
And wide receiver. And so you got a big target. And then we already know what Harold Perkins is going to bring. And when you look at that LSU secondary, I think they've been loaded for, 20 years straight, it feels like. They always have. I mean, they have so much talent in the secondary. They check all the boxes for me, and they're a team that last year they went through that Tennessee loss, and that could have turned really ugly for Brian Kelly. I mean, Tennessee went in there and put it on them in front of their home crowd, and you saw how that LSU team matured throughout the season. That Georgia game didn't go how you wanted it to, but I didn't think many people were going to compete with Georgia they didn't match up very well with Georgia last year, in my opinion. This is a team where I think Brian Kelly, everyone wondered why he left Notre Dame. It's tough to build a team like you can build at LSU at Notre Dame in today's age of recruiting. I think this is the year Brian Kelly shows that, man, he is one of the top coaches in the country, man. And I think LSU makes a statement on during this game.
All right.
Damn it,
Andrew.
Zach.
Andrew, what you got in this game, man?
Okay, here's the thing. Mason Smith is out for LSU. He is a game wrecker because he signed autographs before it was legal. I don't care about any of that stuff. Jordan Travis is the real deal. I think that with Johnny Wilson from Oregon, who is a hell of a game wrecker, and we also just talked about Keon Coleman. Where did he go? Yeah, that's right, FSU. They got Jaheim Bell in tight end. I think that Jordan Travis is going to ball out. I think Mike Norvell is going to come up, and they're going to beat LSU in a very small margin game. That's what it was last year. It was a missed extra point, and that's how it happened. I think it's just going to be a great game, and I think whoever wins or loses can still make the playoff. I think FSU still wins the ACC, and I can see LSU winning the SEC, at least the SEC West. Don't know about against Georgia, but I think I have trust with FSU. They are just a fun team.
I got you. Ty, you get to see them LSU Tigers when they're taking on Bama every year, man. Brian Kelly doesn't have to recruit at LSU because it recruits itself. What you got in this game tomorrow against the Seminoles?
So I'm going to pick the Seminoles, and I'm going to tell you why. John Emery's not playing. Denver Harris, I don't know what his situation is. Mason Smith not playing. I know we like LSU's DB room. Gentlemen, this is an entirely new DB room, and half the DBs they just brought in got hurt. J.K. Johnson just got hurt. Keon Coleman just put up huge numbers. And not only that, FSU got, before Travis Hunter entered the transfer portal, the number one transfer available in the Porter Fintrell Cypress.
It's about that prime 7, though.
Yeah, and then they have those two. They have that, what might be the number one edge rusher in the draft, Jared Verse.
Yep.
Right? So, and this was an LSU team that could not establish a run without Jaden Daniels last year. He was the run. He was their leading rusher. So this is going to be a phenomenal game. I have it super close, but because I've consistently picked FSU, I'm not going to go away from it. This is going to be an amazing game. LSU is going to be a great team. I am interested because LSU historically figures out their DB room. I do agree they're going to get it right, but that was an area where they've been kind of questioning, right?
Yeah.
How that's going to look because they had to go get so many guys from the portal to come in and try and play immediately. And one of the guys they were looking forward to, he sustained a season-ending injury August 10th or August 11th, I believe. So that's going to be something we have to watch.
That was the guy from Ohio State, and then like
J.K.
you said,
Johnson.
Yep, and then
I will say a name to watch is an FCS transfer they got, a 2-time FCS All-American is Zy Alexander.
Great one.
From Southeastern Louisiana.
Great one.
That kid, I got to see him play in person. He had a game-winning pick in the playoffs against Idaho last year in the first round. He's got the length. He's got the size. Like, that's the kid that's going to play on Sundays, and he transferred in. I expect him to be a big piece. I want to say he's wearing 24 this year for LSU. Like, that's a name to watch this weekend.
Okay, shout out to Kim, man. Hey, appreciate you tuning in. Hall of Fame Mafia. Say you got to get out there. Say love the panel. Love great show. Appreciate you. Coach, Who you got tomorrow, LSU or FSU?
Well, let me start by saying this. I would agree with what was said earlier. Brian Kelly's a hell of a football coach. I don't agree with the statement that he couldn't recruit at Notre Dame.
No. I said he didn't like to recruit.
Oh, okay. I'm with you now, Coach, because you are exactly right. He didn't like to
definitely recruiting.
Exactly. He did not like his ass was out on the golf course.
And Coach, I think he just reached a pinnacle where he could only get a certain type of player, and he realized he couldn't get the players he needed.
But that's true. That's true.
But look what Marcus is doing. I mean, Marcus is throwing that out the window because he's going out and getting those 5 stars. Brian Kelly was stuck on 3 stars. I mean, if we got a 4-star every now and then, we were doing good. But anyway, with that being said, the other thing, Brian Kelly's going to lose this ball game tomorrow night. And I'm going to tell you, he already lost it. And I tell you why he already lost it. Because he's giving damn bulletin board material to Florida State. And guys, in a game like this, you don't give people bulletin board material. You know, he's already bad at trying to speak Cajun, and he's already bad at trying to dance the way he does. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to come down. It's going to be a hell of a game, like everybody has said. But it's going to come down to a turnover. Turnovers are going to make the difference in this ball game, and Florida State wins it.
There it is. Florida State wins. Before we
come from the same guy that freaking went down the wrong ramp at a football game.
No. Hey,
just to piss everybody off.
I went down the right ramp because the ramp y'all were trying to send us down was called the losers ramp.
Don't say y'all. Don't you say y'all. I tried to save y'all on that one.
Y'all is one of those very large 3-letter words.
That's right. That's right, man. Hey, man, shout out to Ty, man.
First year I met Coach.
Ty got to jump out of here, man. Ty, tell everybody where they can find you before you get up out of here, man.
Yeah, guys, newly married, so y'all already know. The wife gave me all Saturday, so I got to give her Saturday evening. She's a first-grade teacher, so I gotta do my part. Guys, it has been an absolute pleasure, every single one of you. I'd love to. We're going to have to figure out a way where we can all get connected. I'd love to have each of you over on the show. I'm doing a live stream Monday evenings. That'd be a ton of fun to get each and every one of you over there. Y'all can find me at Around the Table Sports here on YouTube, just talking college football. Blessed to be here with y'all this evening. Hope y'all all enjoy your weekends. And these guys right here are going to take care of you. So don't forget, subscribe to all of these guys. They do great stuff. There's a reason why YouTube college football is taking off. It's because of talent like this out there. And I will say before I hop out of here, thank God he hit that cringy TikTok dance with Danny Lewis because Danny Lewis is now with the Tide, baby. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Shout out to Tide and Around the Table Sports, man. Y'all make sure y'all go out there and subscribe to his channel, man. All right, Ty, appreciate you, man.
All right, y'all.
We'll be getting up for that Monday show, man. All right, man. Listen. It's been a good show. Hey, Jason, did you give your prediction for tomorrow?
I did not, and I'm gonna go with LSU. I'm in that prove it to me thing. I feel like last year they got every break they could possibly get and still probably should have lost the game. I think that the people that think that Jordan Travis is better than Daniels, they've got literally the same numbers other than running.
Yeah, I think they
football. Daniels has got to be hands down, right? I mean, it's
actually he got better numbers.
Who's that?
Well, I think Travis got him by about 200 yards passing last year. But when it comes to rushing, like I think Zach might have said,
Daniels had 1,200 yards, right? He had like 1,200 yards.
That's what I'm saying. When it comes to rushing, Daniels, it's Daniels hands down.
And look, as bad as OU was, and they took half of their team to the Cheez-It Bowl and gave FSU all the hell they wanted, and they were full. So look, when FSU shows that they can beat NC State, Wake Forest, and God forbid you beat Clemson once, much less twice in the same season, when you ain't done it, you haven't done it in 8 years, then I'll buy into him. I like Mike Norvell overall. I just don't know that I trust him in this. And I think that Brian Kelly is one of the best coaches in the country. I don't think he's a recruiter, but you don't have to recruit there. They build recruiting.
Hey, shout out, man. Listen, man, it's been great. It's week 1, man. It's been good to be back talking college football and not a whole bunch of
has
off the
been.
field stuff, man. I'm loving it. This is my favorite time of year. Everybody knows that, man. We're going to keep trying to bring y'all the all-star panels every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, man. Listen, before we get out of here, everybody going to shout out where they can find you. I want to personally thank you guys for showing up and showing out, giving us that great content. We'll start with you, Jason. And Jason, I got to get with you. I don't know how to do the sound effects. So go ahead, Jason.
Hey, man, you can always find us at, you can, on our website is hofmedia.us. That'll send you everywhere we are. But on Twitter, it's JW_HOF. And then it's just at CFB-pod. On YouTube, we're putting out content day after day on this channel. We're hoping to grow and love being in these shows with these kind of guys. I mean, this is talent like you wouldn't believe. I enjoy having these conversations with you guys. You know, Shawty, we don't mess with you because we know better too, man. So I mean, you know too. So hey, hey, I enjoy it. I love it that you guys come on my show, and I'm honored to be here with you guys too. So thanks a lot.
That's right, Shawty. All right, hey, listen, man. Y'all don't know,
Mafia.
man. Listen, Shawty's a great debater, man. Hey, y'all make sure y'all catch us out on Tuesdays, man. The fan fight will be back this Tuesday coming. So he's the reigning champ. So Shawty, tell the people where they can find you at, man.
Yeah, man. Before I say that once again, man, like I just have respect for this particular panel, man. Like I said, I literally come on this show literally looking for someone. I'm looking for the weak link. And I'll be honest with you, man, I was very impressed with everybody on the show this week. Like, shout out to everything that all you guys do, man. And I always show respect in this due. And I respect all of you guys for everything that all of you all do. Whether I know you personally or not, I respect what you do. You all can find me every Wednesday night, 9 or 9:30, depending on when I get in the house. Just my damn opinion. And Jason, I really wish I could have had you on the show last week because I did a show on the coach who punched a high school kid on the sideline, and it was about, was it a fireable offense? And I really wish I could have had you on there. So I got to start shooting you my link when I do my show.
Let me know.
Check it out. Yeah, man.
Anytime, I'd be honored to come on, man. I love your show, man.
Yeah. So I really wish I could have had you on there. But with that being said, yeah, man, y'all can find me on Wednesday night. Just my damn opinion. 9 or 9:30, man. Look out for me, man. Like the channel, subscribe, all that good stuff.
That's right, man. That's right. Hey, listen, we always glad to have Andrew on, man. Penn State guy, keeps it real, man. Listen, Andrew, tell them where they can hook up with you, man.
Yeah, as I said, _Penn State. Just find me on Twitter, X, or whatever the hell we want to call it right now. And you're going to probably see me here on Saturday nights because I love chopping up with all you guys. I think
my guy,
the breadth and depth of knowledge and information and lack of BS is great. And I love the fact that everyone's a real one because we picked out the worst of our team's wins. And I know we're going to be the hardest ones to possibly say, like, oh, my gosh, we won. But shouldn't we have gotten that? Yep. So my shout out to Shawty, 2 coaches, Jason and Zach. And Zach, I'm big in FCS too, going to the Dakota Market game later this year. Love to chop it up with you offline. But thank you guys again so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to Zach for coming on, man. Me and Zach have been together on Kobe Orr Show. Y'all make sure y'all check out the Blitz City podcast as well. So, but Zach, tell them where they can find you at, man.
Yeah, the Blue Bloods, all podcast streaming platforms, YouTube. We launched a website now, the bluebloodcfb.com. And you can find me on social media at Zach McKinnell, man. But I appreciate you having me on, man. And shout out to all you guys on the panel, man. I had a blast chopping it up. I'm glad we finally got some games to talk about.
Yeah.
Big facts.
What's his podcast again? For Zach?
It's the Blue
Bloods.
The Blue Bloods, man. That's a great show, by the way.
Blue Bloods.
I've watched it a lot over the last year, man. I really have.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
It's called the Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
But now you're going to be covering the SEC now, right?
Oh yeah. That
Yeah.
like I kind of do everything, man. So we'll
Yeah.
probably start incorporating a little bit more Power 5 content on the channel.
I
Awesome.
got you. I got you. All right,
Awesome, man.
Coach.
Awesome.
Tell them where they can find you, man. Other than at a Notre Dame home game.
Well, guys, again, boy, just to listen to you guys and picking y'all's brains, and y'all are very impressive. All of you guys are very impressive. And so again, thank you for allowing me to come on the show. You know, little old coach don't know much, but I sure have fun learning from you guys.
Shitting me.
But
Hey.
but I'm a real simple kind of guy. Hall of Fame college football, and that's all I do. I don't do the X and all the other stuff. That's where you can find me.
Hey, that's where you can find him on the show with Jason, man, on Hall of Fame college football, man. Listen, man, shout out to everybody in the comments, the Hall of Fame Mafia, man. Zach, some of his people got in. The fanatic people in here, Respect the Hedges, a couple of people, and all the people that didn't comment that's watching on Facebook or wherever you watching at today, man. Make sure you hit the like button, man. Help people. Some people still go back and watch this show after the live is finished. They trying to get the information too. The more thumbs up you give, the more people can find the show. Again, we coming back every single Saturday college football season, 10 p.m. Listen, we bringing you the All-Star cast. These guys know we got a group, and these guys always have the link to get in. So you got to stop by and catch all the knowledge, man. Shout out to Coach. Shout out to Shawty, Zach, Jason, Andrew. Shout out to my guy Ty, who had to jump off, man. Listen, Saturday Night Snap Count on the Fanatic Sports Network. We out of here.
See you.
Thanks, Coach.